So how's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
I spent 3 hours today, and I was telling you this in the car, Matthew, using a pipette and taking out hatched zebrafish eggs out of petri dishes and then replacing their water. But they're all cute, swimming around. They're all tiny right now.
I like pipette. That's a good
Sounds
word.
delicious.
The zebrafish.
Yeah.
Would you like me to prepare a zebrafish delicacy
Love
for you?
seafood. Yeah, bring it in.
Oh my god, they're
Give me
tiny
some
though. They're like
zebrafish sushi.
the viewers can't see, but they're like an inch, I guess.
You're gonna
You
have
gotta
to eat
bring a
like
whole lot.
1,000 just to feel anything.
Caviar it up.
It's like sushi.
I hate
You gotta-
caviar, by the way.
Really?
Caviar's kind of whack.
Never had it.
It's really whack.
I don't know why it's so synonymous
Coveted.
with being like
Yeah.
like rich and like
Oh, yeah.
like premium.
Fish eggs. Don't you love it?
I love sardines.
Me too.
Being somebody of Portuguese descent, I love sardines.
I thought you were gonna say being a poor man.
Being a poor man, no, being somebody of Portuguese descent on one half of my heritage, I love sardines.
Dude,
And
I'll
we
eat
do
that
them in the
straight.
summer.
I'll
even
eat it
though
straight
they
from
stink.
the. I'll eat it straight from the can. It's good.
See, I don't do them from the can, but when we do them in the summer, like over a charcoal barbecue and shit, it's
that sounds
so good, and they stink, but I love them. But to this day, when I eat them, every once in a while, if I get, I guess I was about to say if I get the ones, if I guess the females, I guess, that have like the little egg thing in there, I always take that shit and chuck it. I'm like, nope. My mom and my grandma will like scarf it down. They're like, it's really good.
Oh,
Nope.
Well, the what?
a female with eggs in it.
I don't know if there's eggs in it, but it's like this little pink looking like part that I guess that's where the eggs go
Oh,
or whatever.
the uterus.
Sure, it's the fish, the sardine
fish uterus.
I don't know if that's what the technical.
The
term is.
sardusi.
The sardusi. That's where it'll. That's what like they'll take and they'll be like, all right, like I'll eat this, and I always give it to them because I'm like, nope. I'm like, I'll eat the whole.
There's a
rest of this
part.
fish, but
so
not
you know
that.
how we were talking about. Actually, we weren't talking about this on the podcast, but generally pigeons in Egypt, how they eat pigeons.
Oh god, that
yeah.
just
And
sounds so vile.
An amazing part of the pigeon is like in its throat.
Here we
There's
go.
like this like
Ugh.
circular like
Sac?
little. It's not a sac, but it's like a kidney.
Can I
But
Is that
it's
where all
not a
the like?
kidney.
Is that where all the like crumbs and cigarette butts and shit it's eating off the street
It's not
go?
again. It's not a New York pigeon.
See, I can't think of pigeons other than like city pigeons. So when you say like, oh yeah, in Egypt they eat pigeons, I'm like,
Yeah.
that just seems
Dude,
like such an
it's a
alien
delicacy and it's
concept.
amazing.
Think of a pigeon that has the whole sky to roam and there's no skyscrapers. I mean, probably.
The problem is though with what you're saying is like it has the sky to roam,
Yeah.
but the skies of Egypt are very polluted.
Oh, they are. They're disgusting.
Mhm.
So
I love Egypt though. I mean, you can't deny that.
no,
People are
I
worried
love
about like
Egypt as well.
mercury in their fish, and meanwhile you guys are eating pigeons that are flying around in like fossil fuels.
Meanwhile, down in Egypt, they're eating pigeon throat.
Exactly.
Pigeon throat is so
They're eating
good, but it's not the
pigeon
throat. It's
throat.
something in the throat.
The
It's
gizzard,
excellent.
perhaps.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my grandma, who she has Alzheimer's right now, but
Mhm.
before,
I don't know why you had to throw that.
I don't know
in
why I
there.
had to
Way
throw
to
that
bring the
in
room
there.
down, but carry on.
I'm so sorry. Let's cut that out.
Oh my God.
My grandma before. That's what I was trying to get. Like before,
Mhm.
Everything.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Every time you cough, Maddie has to cut it out. So try not to cough.
And he was actually
forgot.
expressing annoyance about
Yeah, that was
that.
quite a bit of.
Well, it wasn't that big a deal. It was just I was.
You were annoyed.
I
You were
told-
really angry
I
when you.
told you guys that I was like the edits that I think I was making the most were just cutting out the coughs.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it is what it
Whose
is.
Start
cough?
going
Whose
the other
coughs
way.
were you cutting out?
Malcolm's.
Yeah.
I'll start
Anyway.
going the other way.
Anyways, let me finish.
Shots had to be fired. Anyways, about your grandma and the pigeon throat.
Yeah. So, back in her place in Zifta,
Mm-hmm.
when I used to go visit, there were days where I would just be alone with my grandma and my grandpa in their apartment, and she would go to the market, buy some fresh live pigeons. They're running around. She'd let me play with them for.
wow.
She'd let me
Just let
play,
you play with
she'd
them.
let me play with them for like an hour, and then she goes, "Okay, it's dinner time."
Oh my
She
goodness.
picks each one of them up, sign of the cross on their head, and then cuts their heads
She-
off.
Oh my
She does it?
goodness.
She does it. She did everything from scratch.
But that's like old school because even my grandparents, I mean, my grandma, she's the last of my grandparents still alive, but
Mhm.
her husband, like my grandfather on the two of them on my Portuguese side, like
Yeah.
the few times we've been to Portugal over the years with them, they do it like old school there.
Mhm.
Like there was one time there was like a dove or something like in their backyard. My grandfather just went and shot it.
Oh my god!
Like I can't remember if they ate it or if he just took it.
He shot it with like a rifle.
Well, he had like a pellet gun kind of thing, so it wasn't like a
Oh.
gun, but it was like enough to kill this dove or whatever. But yeah, they were like old school where they had like the chicken pen like
Yeah.
in their backyard, on a farm, like
and
in
they
their
pluck
backyard.
it and
Yeah, and they like
everything
pluck it
from
and do
the
all that
top,
stuff.
right?
Although it was funny because one of the first times we went to Portugal when my brother, I was like 5 and Michael was maybe 3 or whatever, we got 2 chickens, but like as babies. So were they these tiny little yellow looking things?
Oh, no. I
And
love
they were
that.
like our little like pets the
Uh-oh.
first time we went there for
Oh,
like 2
no.
weeks or whatever. And we would just play with them and it was awesome. And then when we left Portugal, like
Yeah.
my grandparents would stay there and go back, over the summers and whatever. And eventually our 2 chickens grew up and were like older.
Became delicious.
No, the thing is, my grandmother, because she's like such a softie, she like went to like basically take, that group of chickens for like food and whatever, and she didn't have it in her to like
them.
To kill the 2 that my brother and I had. She's like, no, these were their pets, and it like makes me sad. I like can't do it.
Your grandmother's infinitely better than my
and then
father's.
yours goes, yeah, Patrick, toss that thing in here. It's dinner.
I'm about to make it even worse.
Oh God, here we go. Worse than cutting its head off?
My father had a rooster.
Here we go.
That was a very good friend of his when he was a kid.
Oh.
And one day he comes home and his parents had made it for dinner, and they were just eating his best friend.
Did they at least tell your dad, or were they just one of those things where like your dad's eating? He's like,
who do you think told me the story?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, did they tell him ahead of time, or were they eating dinner around the table, and then your dad's like, oh, this is really good. What is it? And they're like, oh, it's your rooster.
He didn't tell me that part of the story. Also, I said my dad's name. You're gonna cut that out.
Also, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How do we know it was the same cock?
What?
The same cock that your dad was friendly with.
It was his only. It was theirs. Like,
oh, it was their
it
rooster.
was their rooster.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was no doubt where they got it.
There was no doubt. Yeah.
Okay.
There was no doubt where the cock came from.
Exactly.
Bum bum bum. Bum bum. Welcome back to episode 3 of Wildly Adequate, the show about anything, everything, and usually nothing. I am 1/4 of your hosting crew, Matthew Urso. I still do not have creative intros for the 3 of you yet, so I will work on that at some point. So for now, I am joined by just regular old Patrick Fahim.
Mm-hmm.
Is this my cue?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna.
Regular old.
I thought you were going. Oh, is this against me saying brains in the brawn?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna rip off everything, all at once. What's that?
Definitely not the name of the movie.
Everything everywhere, all at
Everything
once.
everywhere all at once. Yeah, it sounded like you were gonna say, you were gonna make a punchline there with that.
No. I was not.
Am I ignorant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, Mr. Mark.
That's me. I'm kind of upset that I wasn't introduced as P2 because I plugged my headset into player 2.
I guess that would make
I
more
don't know.
sense order-wise.
Yeah.
No, he said as P2, not second. Oh, is that what you meant? Second or P2?
Isn't that the same thing? I wanted to be introduced second as well.
Oh, I interpreted that as player 2.
You know what it is? It's because the past couple times I've done Patrick, Mark, Malcolm,
Yeah.
and that's just how it's made sense in my
I don't
head,
blame
but-
you. And Malcolm's here.
And Malcolm.
I'm here.
He's here.
I'm
He's here,
present.
all right.
I'm present.
All right, let me take the reins here.
Please take the reins because we're falling apart here
We are.
already. Take it away. Take it away.
Patrick will be doing the first
Patrick's
topic
got
of the
a
day.
topic for us.
Oh,
What is it?
Ohio?
No.
Ohio. Just Ohio,
No,
the
not
topic.
Ohio. Okay, so the way I want to get us into this is by asking you guys a quick question.
Ask away.
I need a quick answer for this.
Okay.
So let's not dilly-dally here.
Just point at the person or just like say, hey, Mark, answer first. Or
Okay,
whatever.
Mark, answer first.
Okay.
Do you like Michael Jackson?
Do I like Michael Jackson's music or him as a person?
His music.
I like his music, yes.
I like that you made that distinction, Malcolm. Do you like Michael Jackson's music?
I like Michael Jackson.
Oh wow, he's
taking the lead.
He made it.
He made a stance.
Yeah.
And Matthew, do you like Michael Jackson?
His music personally doesn't really do too much for me, but
Wow.
like I can appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna actually start off with Mark here because I want to hone in on the distinction you made here.
Sure.
So based on the way you answered it,
Mm-hmm.
my question about liking Michael Jackson, it seems like you do this, which is separating the art from the artist.
Here we go.
Do you do that regularly with not just Michael Jackson, like with other artists, or is
Yeah.
it because like like he's a high profile one?
I do it with every artist, whether
Yeah.
it's like an actor or a musician or whatever. I think
Mhm.
it's because I know that, I don't really know the person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see them in interviews or whatever and like their personality, but it could just be something that they throw on and they're different in private life. So I just think generally I don't really believe to know what they're like, and therefore I wouldn't be able to actually like them as a person. All I know is their work and what
Yeah.
I've seen from their work, and I like their work.
That's right.
So,
But
like-
let's use Michael Jackson as the example
Sure.
here and not speak abstractly. Let's assume that the allegation. Well, I mean, I don't want to like. Are there? how confirmed are
I
they?
don't
I
know.
still haven't watched the
As
documentary.
far as I personally understand it, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's like 100% confirmed.
Okay, so
but
if
it's
it's-
also more than like 85.
Sure. Okay. Let's just go with that first definition. I'm not saying it's not confirmed. I'm just going to frame it as allegations.
Sure.
Okay. So assuming the allegations against Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
which as we understand now is apparently above 85% likely to be true. Like if they were true,
Yeah.
are you still able to confidently say that you listen to his music and that you like his music?
I personally am. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I've watched movies, like even some Tarantino movies are like produced by the Weinstein Company, and Harvey Weinstein did some pretty gross shit. So like,
Mhm.
even though his name was slapped on the beginning of the movie, and it's like his production company that made the movie,
Mhm.
I'm able to sit back and be like, you know what? Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He's gross, but I still love this piece of art for what it is, not
Mhm.
for any person that's attached to it in any way.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to go over to Malcolm here because Matthew had said that it's about 85%
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah.
But when I asked you to answer the question, you made the assertion that you like, you didn't make the distinction with music that Mark made. You decided to say that you like Michael Jackson.
Well,
Yeah.
I want.
And I just want to say for the record, we're just going to go off this tangent for like briefly. I want to come back to thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want, in my mind, I want Michael Jackson to be a good guy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go. I'm just sticking with innocent until proven guilty, and since he's not around anymore, he's innocent.
Oh,
So
that's
you-
not
you're saying-
exactly how that
You're
works.
saying,
Malcolm.
or you're saying like the statute of limitations or whatever, where it's like it's too far removed.
I mean, the statute of limitations, as far as I understand it, is just forgiving legal punishment. Like you can
Yes.
still be guilty.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. But
And-
you just can't be like prosecuted for
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, has he been proven guilty?
Again, I mean, I think
Here's
at
what
the
I-
time of recording this podcast, I think we're all under the consensus that it's not technically 100% proven, but
Yeah.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of incriminating
yeah,
evidence.
I
It's
was-
one of those things where there's a lot of incriminating stuff, and
Yeah.
it's one of those like as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. And with Michael Jackson, it's like there's a lot of
Oh my
smoke.
god.
I mean, it is alarming that this many kids that are now grown-ups came out and said Michael Jackson like gave him a blowjob in the pool, or
Jesus.
We're gonna have to cut
or
that
like
out.
had or like had sexual interactions all over his amusement park with them, or like took the train and did stuff on the little train that goes around his house.
Yeah. So
or
what you're saying is
locked himself in
Yeah.
the top door of the train conductor's room, and
You know what I'll say? Like, I know there's not any actual like full on, like definitive he did it or he didn't do it. But the fact that they had enough information to make a documentary about it to me is like a little concerning. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, because there's a documentary, he definitely did it. But to see that amount of evidence, I haven't watched it, but I know
Yeah.
it's like an hour-long documentary of like all the shit that has been compiled. So
That's why I'm not comfortable with making an assertion, because
sure.
like haven't looked into it
Yeah,
as
yeah,
much
yeah.
as maybe I
I
should
mean,
have.
Macaulay Culkin said nothing happened.
Well, here's the thing.
Is that what he did?
You know what I've always thought about that? I've always thought that Michael Jackson, maybe he was smart enough to not have any sort of weird interactions with someone who's so famous,
Mhm.
because it was probably around Home Alone time or whatever. And if he did something with him, then surely Macaulay would come out to the public and be like, hey, he did this to me.
Mm.
But maybe he was doing stuff to like people who were unknown, just like random kids. And then that way it could just be like, oh, some fan trying to get attention or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
that's not, that. Yeah, that's hard to
That's
think
just
about.
that's just an assumption, but
That could work.
I don't mean to jump ahead in your
Do
topic
it,
here,
please.
Patrick,
No,
but
go
I
ahead.
assume you're getting at separating the artist from the art.
he already got to that.
I explicitly said that.
Okay, but what I'm just saying is, do you have like a specific like thesis statement with that, or is it just purely
I
like
think
what do
he's
we
just-
each think of
yeah, I
it?
think he's just
Yeah.
exploring what we think about
Let's
it.
just
Well, then
explore it.
to jump
Because
ahead,
there's some people who believe that. I was about to name a name, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to name.
Well, I
the
mean, let's
name.
get Maddie's take on it.
well,
Yeah.
I was going to jump ahead because you're going with Michael Jackson, which is like kind of this
Unknown, kind of.
at best nebulous thing, and at worst like a shit show. But I feel like if you
Can
go
you
to
define nebulous for our audience and me?
like morally kind of ambiguous or gray,
You used
or
that word
whatever.
yesterday, and
I did,
couldn't
and you
remember
were
it.
like, yeah, you didn't remember what it
He's
was.
saying it's either uncertain or all the way to like
Yeah.
damn right.
It's a little bit of a,
So at
it's
best
maybe
it's
a little bit of a
nebulous.
Schrodinger's cat. Yeah, at best, let's say.
Okay, I think you misused that.
It's alive or not, we don't know.
It's alive or not or both.
No, the point is
Right.
it is both until you open the box.
That's right. Thank you. That's right.
So
Until you
it's
open the
either
box.
alive or dead.
Oh, okay, you're right. No, he's that right.
So I'm
My
saying
bad,
with
my
like
bad.
with the Michael Jackson example,
I came out
it's-
looking like the fool.
yeah.
I think you were just kind of
Got
like
him.
he's using too many weird.
I'm using too many big
terms and-
fancy words.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to get at is like that's whatever. Whereas I feel like if you go with a surefire beyond a reasonable doubt
Let's go Bill Cosby.
example, like a Bill Cosby or a Harvey Weinstein, that's a different thing. Because Mark said he can always separate the art from the artist. Which here's the thing: when it comes to this conversation, I think it is highly subjective.
Yeah.
And that's what like people don't often get about it, because like personally I'm the kind of person where like actors who have been accused of shit or musicians who have been accused of shit, there are still movies of theirs I will watch, and like music I will enjoy. I as a kid loved the Cosby Show, like his sitcom he had, because it's hilarious. But it's a show now
Careful
where like
now, you're about to get canceled.
but it's a show now where I look at it now and I'm like,
You can't watch
I
it.
can't watch this. And it's not
Oh.
even out of some like moral, like I won't stand for this or anything. It's not even out of that. It's purely because like Bill Cosby's whole shtick as like a stand-up comic and on that show
The good guy,
was
right?
like, I'm the good guy. He was literally nicknamed America's Dad.
Yeah.
So it's like he kind of had that persona and it carries over into the show.
So it's
So
gross
when he's on
to
the show,
watch it.
like being like, oh, my daughters, or oh, my kids, or
Oh,
I'm dealing with
God.
my
Yeah,
wife.
yeah, yeah.
Like it's very like this kind of like humble, like,
Mm.
I'm just an average guy. I'm America's dad and I'm funny and lovable. And then knowing that it's like, we're completely not that at all. Like that breaks it for me. Where so it's not even as big of like a moral thing or like I don't want to show support for you, which I mean I don't, but it's more of like there's a disconnect there
Yeah.
in that specific example, which I guarantee you there are people who are like, well, I still watch the Cosby Show and it doesn't
Well,
weird me out.
here's
kind of
here's
thing.
what I'm gonna say, because I know I'm saying that I'll do it consistently, but I've also never watched something where someone's been like convicted of something, and like I've never I haven't had that Cosby situation of like a show that I like or a movie that I like, and the star of it or the creator of it is like proved like he did this to this like X amount of people.
Can anyone think of like a big star in like a big movie that like maybe we've all seen has been convicted of something like that?
Not
Somebody like Kevin Spacey, for example,
Sure.
was caught up in all that Me Too stuff, and it's like
Yeah.
he's in a million things that, again, I still love Kevin Spacey's performances in certain movies, and there are movies of his that I have seen and will continue to watch, but it's like it doesn't change necessarily what went on with him, but it's just a thing that it doesn't bother me, I guess.
It doesn't
in
slap you in the
same
face like the Cosby
way,
thing.
like the
I-
Cosby thing.
I
does.
appreciate the nuance you're trying to bring into the conversation, and
You
you're
wanna
right.
be
Like
blunt.
it's what?
But you want to be blunt with it. You just
No, I'm not trying to be blunt with it. I'm saying you're right. As with a lot of things, there should be like a gray area where it's not. We're not trying to. We shouldn't make a statement that encapsulates all instances.
Yeah.
But what I also want to ask is, do you feel we ought to separate the art from the artist where possible? Do you feel like that should be the rule?
I don't think so, because I don't think that is possible, because I think the best art inherently comes from the artist. Like I don't think you get, I mean, there's a million examples you could get or give, but I don't think you get Jimi Hendrix's music without Jimi Hendrix. Just like I don't think you get Steven Spielberg's movies without Spielberg, and I don't think you get, like great poetry from Robert Frost without Robert Frost.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the artist is built into that.
I agree with that statement a lot. But however, I do want to also, I guess, explore the idea that not everyone is flawed to some degree.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I guess the reason why I would sort of advocate for that being the default, separating the art from the artist, in the sense of like, let's not put them on pedestals and like treat them as if they're
Perfect.
morally perfect. And does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure, but to me, it's not a pedestal thing. It is just the artist is, to me, in my mind, intrinsically tied to the art. It is a question of how much that affects
The image that makes
the like
sense.
art and your
Yeah.
interpretation of it. Because again,
Yeah.
Spielberg, good Lord, I hope this statement doesn't age poorly over time, because he's my favorite director ever. But like Spielberg, as far as I'm aware, is like a decent, nice person.
You're
kind of
setting
thing.
yourself up here,
I'm
Matt.
setting myself up for failure. But as far as at this current moment in time, as far as I know, Spielberg, pretty good
A
dude.
few years later.
His movies are like so heavily part of him or a part of him kind of thing. And that doesn't matter. Or again, like the Cosby Show, for example, is inherently a part of
It's his show.
Bill Cosby. I mean, it's literally his name.
Yeah.
And him being part of this thing that's his ruins it for me.
That's right.
Whereas Spielberg being part of this thing that's his is an example in the other way where it betters it for me. But again, there are examples of controversial people that are definitely part of their art that, like I mentioned, in the very subjective way of this whole thing, doesn't bug me and doesn't distract from any of this. So I'm like, whatever.
You know what I think changes it too is if you're in front of the camera or behind the camera. Because like someone like Spielberg, if something came out about him, I feel like more people would be able to separate it because he's just a filmmaker and he's not like in front of the camera being all happy or being like expressing himself and people are like, oh, screw this guy. He shouldn't be like
the spotlight isn't on him is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So that's why I think even the same thing with like people know about the weird sketchy shit that Woody Allen did and he married his like stepdaughter or whatever and she was like a teenager, like all that shit. And people still enjoy his movies and he's still making movies and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely something in the world where whether people are consciously separating the art from the artist, like people do, like Chris Brown, for example. Who did he hit? Rihanna?
One. Yeah, he beat. No, he didn't just hit her. There's pictures
he beat her.
There's pictures that came out and she was like, she looked like lumped up, like her face was like unrecognizable.
Yeah, and there are people who still consume his music, and
he's still popular.
I've actually spoken to people who acknowledge, like, oh, I heard about that. It's terrible. I hated what he did.
Still making bangers.
Love his music. Yeah,
Still making bangers.
Still listen to him to this day, though, kind of thing.
Honestly, I kind of agree with Maddie that it's kind of tied together into one, and for myself, it's hard to separate the artist from the music. Like when I listen to Michael Jackson, I put on a record. Like in the back of my mind, I'm like, he might have done this, but I love this. I love this, and I love him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where I
especially with Michael Jackson. Sorry about that. Yeah, especially with Michael Jackson, it's one of those things where I do think about what Maddie brought up, how it's like tied to who they are. Because when I listen to "Man in the Mirror," it's hard to listen to in that mindset where you're thinking about like, oh, did he do this?
Yeah, that song especially because he's like talking about like bettering yourself. And
exactly.
That sort of,
and there's also They Don't Care About Us. That's not as tied.
It's more like a social.
That's a social justice more so one, but still like it's this noble sort of cause, and it's
I
sort of undermined, right?
I think you're you're bringing up a very good point here that connects with what Maddie was saying about like it going against what they're standing for or whatever. Like Cosby, like talking about how he used to not swear in his stand-up too. He used to be like a really PG guy.
He was like one of the clean comics of
like
the
world. Fact that he was like emphasizing the cleanliness and the innocence and all that stuff, and then he was doing the most horrendous shit. To me, makes it like I've never personally watched Cosby stuff, but I would feel like it might be harder for me to separate it because it's like what Maddie's saying. It's like it's so opposite of what he was preaching. But if you're making art that isn't necessarily like preaching anything in like any moral values, then I feel like it could be easier.
I think we're getting to the core of it here, where I think we can agree on the following statement: if the art is, if the art transcends the character of the person, in so far as it's making a universal or righteous or just sort of message, then I feel like we ought to separate the art from the artist, whether or not you can.
Or at least acknowledge it and be like...
say like this part of what this person did is good and this is right kind of thing. Like, for example, if we were to make like an extreme hypothetical, Martin Luther King, let's say he did something outrageous, egregious.
If something came out where he murdered a guy in the street.
Exactly. I think in that example, we'd all agree that despite that, he should still be held up for
the message and
that
the thing he was pushing for transcends.
So what are you saying generally from that?
What I'm saying generally is that when the art transcends the artist, for lack of better words, then we ought to separate the art from the artist and not forget about what's important in that scenario.
So you gotta weigh it basically.
We gotta weigh it because a lot of people when they have this conversation, it's like, we can't separate the art from the artist, and because what they did is bad, everything they did is bad, kind of thing, and we can't lift up anything they did. But that can't always be true, right?
Does anyone know what Gandhi was accused of?
What?
No, but honestly, I've heard this.
Gandhi had some. I forget the details, but it was something. I can't remember.
I've
off the
heard
top of my
something.
head. I don't even want to like take a
Yeah,
shot
I'm not
in the
gonna.
dark.
I'm not gonna try either. But I have heard that like
Do some googling. Malcolm.
some people will talk about Gandhi, and I've seen this online and shit, YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff. Someone will bring up Gandhi and like something a profound quote he had, and someone will be like, you know, he's a piece of shit, right? Like I've seen this in multiple.
Yeah, and that's exactly that's perfect because that's exactly what I'm trying to sort of harp at here.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I think we should avoid that, especially if the message is something universal and in the long run will better everyone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know if we're all on the same page with that,
but that's what I'm saying. To me, again, where the whole thing is just very nuanced and subjective. And I feel like the problem is people boil it down to their specific lens, where if somebody, like if you asked somebody else and they were like, I don't listen to Michael Jackson because I think he's a piece of shit. I have no problem with somebody being like, that's you not liking Michael Jackson's music anymore, in the same way that I wouldn't watch the Cosby Show anymore. It's more a thing that frustrates me when people will then be like, and nobody else should listen to Michael Jackson, and if you listen to Michael Jackson, you're a piece of shit.
When you start controlling other people.
Yeah, like when it starts becoming a thing, because it's like, and to me it's such a subjective thing of like, well, you might not listen to Michael Jackson. Like, just for example, somebody might say to me, or like one of you guys, because I don't actually listen to Michael Jackson, so you guys would be a better example. But somebody might say to one of you guys, oh, you listen to Michael Jackson's music? Like, you're a piece of shit. And then you could say to them, well, do you still watch the Cosby Show? And they're like, oh yeah, I love that show. And they don't like have the same sort of hang up on it.
Yeah, well, what if it was someone who was consistent in their argument?
If somebody was consistent in it and they're like, I don't like either of these things and whatever, then
they have the right to call you a piece of shit.
No, I think that's fine. But to me, it's still a thing of like, well, you can't
call me a piece of shit.
Like impose your subjective, this is something I'm no longer willing to support. Like you can't impose that on somebody else kind of thing. It's just a whole can of worms. And we haven't even gotten into the whole like monetary, like what does support even mean?
That's
like
right.
if I was still, they don't even air it anymore, but if I was still going to watch the Cosby Show on cable like I did as a kid, he's not getting any of my money.
Well,
like I'm not really giving him any support kind of thing. Where if it's like, if I bought the album of a musician that was like a piece of shit, then they're literally getting my money. And that's like a way more direct form of support.
That's right.
Than just, oh, I'm watching this thing on TV, like a rerun.
But when someone makes that point, I feel like most of the time they're referring to like mentally supporting someone. Like you're still putting your energy towards watching their content. It's about like content consumption as opposed to like financial support. I feel like most of the time people are, when they're talking about it, it's like why are you like Michael Jackson? He's passed away. He's not benefiting from anything anymore. But people are like, oh, why are you still supporting this person's like art because of who they were, who they are, or whatever?
Yeah. Part of why I also don't agree with that line of thought is because you're assuming the person's sort of intentions. For example, if I were to give sort of a scenario here with the Michael Jackson one, you could have this person go up to this Michael Jackson supporter or someone who likes their music and say, okay, you're a piece of shit. But to them, it could be the case that they started listening to that music before the allegations came out. It could mean something completely different to them and could hold like a special place for them for whatever reason.
Or it could be like them and their father listened to Michael Jackson growing up or whatever.
Exactly. It could be a number of things. It could be an infinite number of things.
Well, to Mark's point, I also think the thing Mark was saying is true, where people will think like, oh, even if you're just like not financially supporting somebody, but if you're even just giving them like mind share or whatever, like that still supports them, whatever. And I also think, even though I'm saying before that like I think an artist and their art are intrinsically linked, but there are times where I can separate it. It's one of those things where it's like, even if you enjoy the art of somebody who's like a garbage bag, it doesn't mean you're supporting the garbage things they did too, which is the other thing where I feel like people will look at it like, I guess a slightly more modern example would be like with all the Kanye West stuff. I'm not the biggest Kanye fan. There's like a handful, I could count on one hand, like the songs of his I kind of like and will listen to, you know, every once in a while if they come on. But it's like all the shit he was saying towards the end of last year is obviously and clearly abhorrent.
I don't think anyone could even argue that.
And anyone who's arguing against it is either like doing it in bad faith or just an actual lunatic. But that's the thing where it's like, if you're somebody now who's like, you know what, I can't listen to Kanye anymore, I totally get it, I totally understand it, more power to you. But somebody who's like, well, if you listen to Kanye, you're supporting like anti-Semitism. And it's like, well, just because I like
It's not a one-to-one like
Power, I like the song,
Oh,
doesn't
great
mean
song.
it doesn't mean I support his views in any capacity.
Honestly,
like, it's just he's a shitbag and his views are terrible. I can say that.
Fourth Dimension's a good song as well.
Oh, it's fantastic. Kids See Ghosts is honestly an underrated album. It's fantastic. It's nice and short as well. But I will say with Kanye, for example, like I am a big Kanye fan. I have like a lot of his music. I'd probably even say he's like my favorite rapper. That being said, like to me, again, like there's no argument to be made that what he said had like nuance to it and he was trying to make a grander point. It's just it's simply garbage. At the same time, like I haven't personally found myself listening to Kanye songs like Graduation. Like I haven't had any problems with it. I haven't listened to it and been like, oh, this guy said this weird fucked up thing, therefore I can no longer support his music. Like to me, I listen to it as like an isolated piece of art, and that just comes naturally to me. I don't even have to think about it. I just listen to the piece of music for what it is, and I don't think about like who made it, why they made it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think like that.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's not saying you don't, but I am somebody who sort of like gets deep with the art that I like.
Sure.
And I feel like your average person listens to a song, plays a video game, watches a movie, and like doesn't think, I guess, too in depth on some of these things, which is why like they might watch a movie with, let's say, a controversial actor in it and not think twice about it. And then when somebody's like, oh, you watched that movie with that like asshole in it, like you're an asshole too now, kind of thing. It's like your average person is like, I'm just.
But I'm not even saying I don't think deeply about any of the content that I consume. I'm just saying I don't think deeply about the person who made it and their history and what and where they came from and what they've done in their lives. I can think deeply about the content and what the message is of the song or of the movie or whatever it is. I just don't find myself naturally thinking about the individuals, because even if there's stories out there that they did X, Y, and Z, I don't know this person. I don't know what led them to do something. I don't like. It's one of those things where I can acknowledge that this person did something terrible, but I don't know them. So to me, it just feels weird being like, oh, because Cosby's different, right? Because I mean, he had like an insane amount of people who came out and it was all proven and shit. To me, it's like if someone's been accused of something, I can't jump and be like, oh, like that person's a piece of shit because some people accuse them of something. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I'm just thinking about how Drake's name keeps getting brought up in the murder of XXX Tentacion's case.
Really?
Is that how you say that?
XXX Tentacion?
It is?
Yeah, it is.
Temptation.
Definitely not Temptation.
XXX Tent.
But
just say X.
X.
Okay.
I just didn't think everyone would know
honestly, I don't think they would know.
The hip youngins will know.
But either way, he was accused of like paying the guys that killed X to do it because of some sort of music problem where like X like stole some of his like melodies or something like that, or his sounds.
His sounds are so weird though.
Don't know if any of it's true.
Not weird bad, by the way, but yeah.
I think either X or Drake posted something about like their sounds and then them taking it and like using it. But either way, even if Drake is like proven guilty and does like some time in jail or whatever, I'm not gonna focus what I know about Drake on his personal life and like what he did. I'm gonna listen to his music.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm listening to, or I'm engaging with the content. I'm not engaging with this person personally. I'm not having a conversation with them. I'm not hearing their opinions on stuff. I'm listening to a piece of art. It's like looking at a painting. I'm appreciating the visual of it, but I'm not like engaging with the person who made it personally in terms of like, yeah, I'm engaging with what came out of their mind, but I'm not engaging with who they are necessarily.
Yeah.
Like in their personal life.
As we are having this conversation, I'm finding myself more and more leaning towards not being able to separate the art from the artist, because I'm just I'm imagining that Drake situation being true, and it's like that would really suck. Like I really like
Hotline Bling wouldn't hit anymore.
Yeah, I hate to veer off here. I was about to get a scam call, actually. I was expecting a call.
Yeah.
Not necessarily tonight, but I thought for whatever reason it was coming tonight. And I stepped away to answer it.
Audible fart.
We have to stop. Every episode we've brought up a fart so far.
That's
we need
true.
next
Seriously?
episode. Yeah, next episode we need to not bring like, even if someone farts, don't bring it
What
up.
if it's our trademark?
That could be a trademark, but I don't think I want that.
I don't think I want it either.
Honestly, just don't give a name. Just don't give a name. Just don't say who did it. Just
okay.
I
No
don't
one
know.
said.
I didn't say anything.
No one said. I mean, we can embarrass you for this one.
It was
Malcolm
Malcolm.
did
It
it.
was
Great.
Malcolm
Wow.
this one.
It's calling about.
Great.
So anyways, you got this random scam call.
I got this random scam call, and
Do Did you give
I'm
them Malcolm?
upset.
Did you give them Malcolm? Did you give them Malcolm's exact address?
I should have.
Call back.
All right.
At the end of the day, it's just to, as we'll veer out of this. We don't want to run too long in the tooth. But at the end of the day, here, it's like I said, where to me, it's an incredibly subjective thing. It's for every person to sort of make up and think about on their own.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's worth like giving other people shit for something that you personally.
We went two different ways with this. I was trying to end this segment with
Wanna
something
goof.
random and abruptly,
Well,
and
I
you
figured-
wanted to sum it up.
Yeah, I figured I'd bring it back.
No, but honestly, I'm totally with Maddie there in terms of
Okay.
like it's a very subjective thing. You
Yeah.
can't. It's not fair to judge someone and be like, oh, you're listening to this. That means you're a piece of shit because they did something.
And I will say, I think a lot of the judgment, a lot of times, also comes from people like, Twitter people, as I call them, liking to just shit on other people.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee, like, when somebody comes out and is like, hey, Michael Jackson's an asshole, I'm like, all right, well, I don't listen to his music anyway, so that doesn't affect me. I guarantee you there are people who, when, like, things come out about artists, they didn't engage with the art at all.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I didn't listen to Kanye's music at all, and now he's being an asshole. So if somebody's like, well, I still listen to Kanye, I'm going to be like, I stopped listening to Kanye, and you're a piece of shit for still listening to Kanye, when it's like they never engaged in the first
I have a
place.
feeling that some of those people, if they did listen to, for say, Michael Jackson before the allegations came out, and then the allegations came out, there's no way that they stopped listening to his music completely. I just don't believe it.
Like you're saying
I
if
feel like
they were
a
a fan
Michael
of
Jackson song came on that they like listened to as a kid, they're not gonna skip it. They're gonna be like, oh, I hate this now. I'm not listening to it because I'm supporting him.
Okay. That's a really weird thing to just really like
it, I mean,
not believe. Like this
just
can't
don't
be
believe it.
real.
I just
I was
don't believe
calling
it.
bullshit.
Just don't believe
You know what I'm gonna say? The last thing I'll personally say about this.
Okay.
I don't believe in the idea of like haters. I mean, generally I do, but I don't. People like overuse that term a lot. It's like, oh, f the haters type thing. But in this case, what Maddie's talking about, I feel like it's people who are so popular and famous are like people are jealous of them. People look at them. Some people who don't even engage with what they're doing just want their downfall. They want to see people like if you're not happy with your own life, you want to see other people not being happy. So let's say Michael Jackson, when the allegations came out, I'm sure there are a lot of people that were like, oh, yeah, see, bullshit. He's a fucking terrible person or whatever. I want to cut all this out. I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness.
I just had the best cup of water in my entire life. That's not even a joke.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
From your fridge. Your fridge always makes it really cold.
It's
by the
really
way.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't changed the filter in a long time.
Oh my God!
so
Why
like-
would you say that? I was just about to ask you about the filter.
Actually, I don't know. I don't personally change it. So I mean, I don't
so
know.
it could be changed. You're saying,
probably,
but probably not.
But
no.
probably not.
You said probably.
probably not.
But let's be honest, that's what makes it taste better.
Yeah.
It has all the juices.
Yeah, it's
the
got
build-up.
everything. It's got everything build up into the water. That's let's be honest.
Yeah.
That makes it
Kind of
better.
you kind of want the debris. Anyway, this week I'd like to talk about music. I know we've done it before, but in particular, I want to talk about how you guys listen to music, how you consume music. Not in terms of how you discover music, but I've realized recently, and I think it's just generally a part of my personality, but when I listen to a new song and I love it, I will listen to the same song like a million times that day and that week. I'll just listen to it over and over and over because I'm so in love with it, and then I end up ruining my favorite songs. Like this is a really bad habit that I have. Even just this week, I was talking to Malcolm about this Trippie Redd song that I was listening to. I'm not even the biggest rap guy or Trippie Redd guy, but there's a song that I think it's called. What was it called, Malcolm? Do you remember?
Taking a walk.
That's right, Taking a Walk. It's a really good song. I like it, but I listened to it maybe 20 times yesterday and today, and now I feel like
Wait, 20 times yesterday and 20 times today, or 20 times yesterday and today?
probably the former, honestly.
Oh wow.
Yeah, probably 20 times just today.
Okay.
And like, I hate that I do that because I can't control myself when I love it. I just like I want to go over and over and over again, and then I end up not liking it after a while because I've kind of overplayed it for myself. So I want to ask you guys, like, when you like a song, how do you deal with that? Do you even think about it consciously in terms of like I want to listen only to this like very scarcely, or I'm just gonna let my my desire just take over and me listen to it as much time as I want.
One song I can think of where I did the exact same thing is I was working with my dad and I heard it through the grapevine playing. And I was like, this is the greatest song I've ever heard in my entire life, and I just kept playing it for at least a week or two straight, and after that I was like, I can't listen to it anymore.
It was crazy.
I love it.
Listened to that song in easily months.
It's a banger.
It's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
So Patrick, let me ask you first. When you listen to a new song that you love and you're just like, I am all about this song, do you think about it like I would think about it? Like, I don't want to listen to this too much as to not ruin my enjoyment of it, or do you just like not even think about it?
I don't even think about it, and I also don't like two things. I don't have that conflict in my head. First of all,
You're not crazy.
Second of all, it just like when I like a song and I first find it, I play it more often in the sense of when I'm in the car. Okay, like I'll cue it up.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna put it on repeat.
Oh,
Once it goes, it
yeah,
goes.
That's fair enough, and I think that's definitely a healthier way to approach it. But I'll do that shit on repeat. Just like taking a walk, I listen to like 7 times.
How do you do that?
Well, here's the thing.
That's insane to me.
But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something though. I'll listen to it maybe like a couple times back to back, but then I'll start separating it with other songs. That
So do you know how crazy that sounds? A couple times back to back, then I'll sprinkle in one song and then back to it, another song back to it, then 2 songs.
I'm gonna correct myself.
Yeah.
Like just when I went to the supermarket with my brother earlier, and I went from like 2 different Trippie Redd songs from the same album, and I went like back and forth like twice. Like I'll do that sometimes where I don't necessarily like listening to the same song like in a stretch, but I want to listen to it often, and I'll sprinkle things throughout. But like at least 50% of the time I'm playing that song, you know?
Yeah,
Honestly,
it doesn't sound... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say today I listened to "Peaceful Easy Feeling" by the Eagles 7 times in a row.
In a row?
In a row, 7 times. I listened to it once and I was like, "That is so good. I'm gonna listen to it again." And then I finished it. I was like, I love that one part. I want to hear it again. I just kept going. I
do that too. I'll go back into the song and like cut to a part that I really like, and I'll listen to it again. And sometimes I'll listen to my favorite part of the song. Okay, here's a problem that I have, and you guys know that I have this problem. I'll listen to songs, but almost rarely do I listen to the full song when I'm around. When I'm around other people, when I'm by myself, most of the time I'll listen to the whole song. But when I'm around other people, I'm like, I want you guys to hear the dopest part, and then I'm skipping it.
That shit drives me nuts if we're like in the car and one of you guys is playing a song and it's like there's 2 minutes left in the song and skips. I'm like, there's 2 minutes left in the fucking song.
Have you never started listening to a song and then at some point you're like, you know what, I'm not feeling it anymore? You've never had that?
That happens, but not like it's not like a habit. That's more of like the odd like occurrence.
Okay.
That's
Also,
not like a constant.
Also, some songs, I have parts of it that I like, and then parts that I despise.
Sure.
Like there's some songs with, I don't hate 21 Savage. I actually really like 21 Savage, but there's some songs where he comes on and it's like
kills the mood.
Yeah, I just want to move to the next one. Like Creepin', for example.
Really?
I'm not a big fan of his part.
I like his part.
That's a whole different thing though. But I'm kind of in line with Patrick because I'm not a sociopath, as I think him and I have agreed.
Thank you. Shake my hand.
We're shaking hands right now.
He can shake his clammy hand.
Was it clammy that time?
It was okay.
Why is your hand so red?
I don't know.
They're always red.
Got
Why
really
do you
weird
got,
blood flow.
You've known me for 10
It's
years.
like extra red
in the
right now.
survey, when it was like, how long have you known Malcolm? 10 years, bro.
I'm gonna provide some context. Patrick goes to the University of Toronto, and he that's right, Mississauga. Asterisk there. No, he enrolled us in a survey for credit.
In a study,
yeah. It was pretty cool, but
we're not done yet. We have to do the Zoom meeting.
That's right. Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So in terms of like, if I discover music or find songs and stuff that I'm into, I don't listen to it over and over again in that day.
I'm gonna cut you off right. I don't listen to like a stretch. Here's what I'm gonna say. I definitely up the frequency significantly, and I'll listen to it many times in a day, but not usually back to back to back.
But that's what I'm saying. Even that I don't do. Whereas to me, it just becomes a thing where it's like when I am listening to music, like for days or weeks, I'll be listening to some of those songs, but it's not like in one day, multiple sessions. It's more once a day for multiple days kind of thing. And I think what applies to that is sort of what Patrick was maybe kind of getting at, and what I thought you were going to get at the beginning, Mark, when you said like how we listen to music is like the actual physically way of how we do it. Because here's the thing, I love just sitting around with like headphones on and listening to music, but that's not my favorite way to listen to music.
Me neither.
I infinitely prefer either being at home, like soundbar, subwoofer on, nobody's home, and like blasting shit, or being in my car and just driving around. I love listening to music that way. So that's the thing where it's because I like listening to music in those two specific ways, and because I'm not doing them as often as, you know, I could sit around and listen to it on my headphones whenever I want. That almost forces me in a way to not be playing a song I just heard that I enjoy, 20 times in a day, where it's like the new Gorillaz album that just came out, Cracker Island. I have been listening to that album in my car once a day, every day since it came out. probably.
But why are you saying it's more difficult, or are you saying it's more difficult to listen to it in that medium of your car versus like your?
It's not that it's more difficult. It's just that because I'm not, always in my car, always driving somewhere.
Okay.
I'm not sitting and listening. I don't sit at home just listening to music very often.
Yeah.
It's usually I'm doing something else.
That's
and if
right.
I'm listening to music, it's just music I've heard,
Mm-hmm.
a million times. Like I'm not engaging with new music or a song I just discovered that I enjoy at home.
You're folding laundry and listening to it.
For me, it's like when a new album or song or whatever, something I find, whether it's new, old, whatever, but if it's new to me, the first thing I want to do is drive around in my car with the music loud as shit.
I was actually going to jump in here and say that my absolute favorite way of consuming music I already know is with a speaker in the shower.
Interesting.
I love
really.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
That's my
favorite, bro. When I'm in
hold on, but in terms of like, I'm not talking about the quality experience because I put music on if I'm in the shower sometimes too. But I'm saying sitting and listening to the music.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
From like a technical and soaking it all in and all that, like the shower.
No, I'm saying for songs that I already know.
Sure. Okay, that's a different.
And songs that I like to sing along to.
Sure, that's a slightly different ball of wax.
I love cleaning my body.
Okay. Describe that process to us in great detail.
I refuse.
Okay.
I mean, we kind of broke it down a little bit last episode.
That is true.
Here's what I'm gonna say. In terms of my preference for how to listen to music, technically, I didn't really fully think about that. But when I said how do we listen to music, I was like, I actually do want to break down the physical part of it too. For me, it's like in my TV, I have like the little the sound bar or whatever, and little speakers. Out loud, like while I'm doing folding laundry or something, I love blasting it on my TV and through the speakers, and that's like my most enjoyable music listening experience.
You do your laundry in your living room? That's where your TV is?
No, in my bedroom.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. You have a TV in your bedroom.
Yeah, and it has a little sound bar and stuff. So
my fault.
all good. So yeah, that's how I prefer listening to music. My second favorite is my car because it's my own private space and I can really blast it in there. I'm not like obnoxious with it, like bothering the whole neighborhood, but like if I'm driving and it's like, I don't know. When I was going to the highway to do my G test, I was just listening to music really loud because it was really loud traffic and stuff like that, and I just like blasting it. Loud music, by the way, is so much better than like turning it down and having it kind of quieter.
It needs to be at a respectable volume. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, boys.
This is where we disagree greatly because the amount of times Patrick has gotten in my car and I have music
Turned it
not even
down.
loud, like
Dude,
in the
annoying,
the winter when my windows are up
Yep.
and it's at like 10 in my car, and Patrick will crank it down to 5 or something of that nature, and it drives me nuts.
Don't you realize that when you have someone in your car, it should be at a respectable volume in case
No.
conversing is gonna occur?
But here's the thing though. If I'm, let's say, driving, if the four of us are driving somewhere and I'm the one driving, especially in the summer, because summer, windows down, music loud
Dude,
is my favorite shit.
I can't wait for that again.
I can't wait. But what frustrates me is there are definitely times where the four of us will be going somewhere. Let's say in the summer, driving till if we're going like a movie or something, let's say, and it's the summer and windows down, driving. I genuinely, I don't know if I've ever expressed this to you guys, but I genuinely get annoyed at you guys, I guess is the only right way to say it, because I don't know another way to say it.
You can tell me that it's me because I don't like when the windows are down.
It's not even, well, that's a whole other thing, because I love the windows down, and I know you're specifically the person who's not a big fan of the windows.
Can I tell you why?
Please.
Because it hits my face. Two things.
What?
Two things.
It's your face.
We'll be going like, we're not speeding, but we're going like a decent speed, whether it's on the highway or not. We don't usually drive on the highway together, but like, let's say you're going like 60 to 80 kilometers an hour, and the windows are down, and the wind is therefore like hitting my face at a quick rate, and then I have to kind of like squint my eyes a little bit because the wind's really coming quick. Not only that, if we're going out, I have very thin hair, and then the wind makes me look like a baby bird. Right? So I don't like the windows down for those two reasons. One of like, in my face is just annoying, and then two, my hair, and also it's like, I feel like it's not as enjoyable to listen to the music.
But that's the thing where I put the music loud enough that the windows being down
fair.
doesn't affect it. But what I was going to get at, less specifically with the windows and more about the music, is there have definitely been times in like the scenario I'm painting of the four of us are in my car driving somewhere, music like windows down, music loud, where I almost want everybody to just shut the hell up so I can play the music really loud. But because it's us, we'll be sitting around like talking and shooting the shit, and I have to like lower the music so that we can talk, so that it's at a respectable volume for Patrick. And there are times where it definitely drives me nuts where I'm like, can everybody just not talk for a second and let's just sit here and jam out to the music at like 30.
I feel like the fix for that is to make it clear that that's what you want to do.
That's what I was about to say.
I think we can all be on the same page where it's like, hey guys,
Dude,
next couple songs.
But I don't want to be the
Let's take
dickhead
it in.
sometimes that's like,
No.
you know, hey,
You have to
everybody
risk
shut up,
doing
it's
that,
music
dog.
time.
You can be nice about it because this is what I do.
he'll
when
be a
someone,
dickhead.
you know what I do? I feel like I kind of sneak it in and no one really notices, unless everyone notices, and I think I'm smart, but I'm not.
Yeah.
What I'll usually do is say like, oh, like listen to this part, and then I'll kind of turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, I've noticed.
And then maybe a little.
That's the tell.
Yeah. Because then maybe, and then at that point, like, it's me doing it without being like, hey, can you stop talking? I'll just be like, oh, hey, look, this is and most of the time I am telling the truth. Like, this is a really cool part of the song.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll just leave it higher until we want to converse again.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also noticed like sometimes we'll be in your car and like Patrick's talking to me from the front seat. And then I'll be like, oh, can you turn it down? I can't hear Patrick or whatever. And then that's fine. It's like we can be communicative and
I want to get in on this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, one annoying thing is Patrick being turning the volume down when I'm enjoying the music a whole lot.
because you can't hear
Or when
as
I'm
much of it.
or when I'm loving the song and
Yeah.
he's like, let's turn that down.
Again,
I don't
respectable
want to go
volume,
on that.
please.
I understand. Respectable volume.
But
yeah.
you can't when you have it loud. You can hear all the instruments. You
Mhm.
can hear every little piece of the song. Sometimes when you really
Exactly.
turn it down, you miss some of the little things.
I'm sorry, do you have hearing deficiencies?
Exactly.
If so, then I'm sorry.
Hold on, I gotta go get water.
But
I don't have hearing deficiencies, but there are some.
And no hate to people who do, by the way. I'm just
do your thing.
I shouldn't
baby.
have said that.
No, but what I'm saying is that there are little tiny noises and sounds and backtracks and like little things that you won't be able to notice if you turn it down significantly.
Tell me what a backtrack is.
I'm saying like a subtle, a quieter piece of music going on in the background, or a subtle instrument that's going on in the background.
Okay.
Like sometimes I'll blast a song, and I'll be like, wait, since when was there a very slight violin at this point, or a slight whatever it is?
Mhm.
Like when you really blast it, you pick up all those little things.
Mm-hmm. I hate to, again, no hate, or I'm not trying to bash people who have hearing deficiencies.
Oh my god!
But I personally believe I have pretty good hearing, and I can
Okay.
hear that stuff with a respectable volume.
But to me,
All those
it's
little
just not as
things.
enjoyable.
I agree.
Okay, so everything you
next
just
topic.
said was worth. Everything that you just said doesn't apply,
No.
Moving on.
But I'm saying it's more enjoyable. I'm saying it's easier to hear those little pieces.
and therefore more.
And therefore it's more
enjoyable.
enjoyable.
Okay.
All right. I was just gonna say before I got into it, I was gonna say was that the second most annoying thing to me is when Amanda's in the car. She comes in and she turns the volume either to an even number or to a numeral of 5. And
Yeah,
it really,
she does that. Yeah.
really pisses me off because I want to listen to 21 because it just feels right.
Wait, I
She'll go,
The fuck?
No.
Okay, you're
Honestly,
equally weird for
that's-
wanting
Wait,
it to
wait,
be
wait,
at
wait,
21.
Okay,
wait,
but
wait.
hold on.
You guys
No,
don't-
that's
you-
like some OCD shit.
wait.
Yeah.
I do that. I'll go like I usually listen at 35 is my max volume on my in my car.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go when I want to go real loud, max 35, or if I want to be like quite loud but not like crazy, I'll go 30. If I want to be like nice and crisp but not like over the top 25, and then sometimes I'll go minimum 15, but I usually don't go like 17.
But
or
are you
whatever.
are you specifically going out of your way to be like, it's got to be 16 or 18, it can't be 17?
No, but I'm just sticking to numbers of like what do you call it? I did like
Even
fives
Because
every
what
5.
Malcolm's describing about this person we know is that's some.
He's saying that when she
Psychopath
goes
behavior.
into the car, she makes sure the
Mm.
like
volume
if I
is an
change the
increment
volume
of
and I
5.
don't look at it, she'll make sure she adjusts it so it's just perfect.
No, to me
Yeah.
I just stick to 15, 20, 25, 30,
Al-
35.
Although
Okay,
for the
so-
record, I've been in the car with her before, and purposefully like I fought her on it and changed it to like not an interval 5, and she gave up at one point.
Really?
So it's like you can win.
Okay,
You
well,
just need
my
to be
goodness.
persistent.
as I was gonna say for my favorite ways to listen to music, number 1 is when it's summertime and it's nighttime. My windows are down and I'm blasting as loud as I can. I'm just
Oh
zooming.
yeah.
I just
Now
want
you're
to say
talking
this
my
out. I
language.
just want to
Z-
put
when-
this on the record, and this is going to be something that exists forever once this goes on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to lose your hearing before me.
Now here's the thing.
That's not true.
Probably.
I don't
It's true.
entirely disagree with you. However, I also don't care.
Okay.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm fist bumping Maddie right now. But
Pound it.
here's the thing. I also don't really care. Secondly, I feel like it's different based on how you're listening to the music. Like if you're listening with headphones and you're blasting it, they're like max.
Sure.
I don't really do that.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
that's
I
like
don't
right
do.
into my ears.
Mm-hmm.
A car, you could still say that's not great for you because it's a confined space.
Yeah.
But I really like in a big room listening to loud music, and to me that's not gonna like really have a significant damage on my hearing if I'm in a big room, like in my living room, and I'm playing music loud.
Mhm.
But obviously, if I'm directly into my ears,
Yeah.
like with
You know what traumatized me? When we were in high school,
hmm
in grade 11 or 12, Merrick would regularly drive Malcolm, Adriano, and I home. And Merrick is one of you people. I'm gonna say
No, but
you people
honestly, I respect
who blasts their
Yeah.
music, and I never opened my mouth in those days. Like
Yeah.
it was grade 11 or 12, it was high school, and I would be in pain.
You know what you do?
And
Oh my
Malcolm would
goodness.
watch me sometimes cover my ears because of how loud
Dude.
the music was. Literally covering my ears because I'm in pain.
You know,
bro.
you know what Patrick would do?
Yeah.
If this happened before in my car as well, he'll just make a face. He'll be like, he's not feeling it. He doesn't like this. But also, I agree with you in a sense because I also don't blast at max when there's other people in the car. I've never done that unless I'm like, can I go crazy? Like I don't really do that.
Yeah.
When you guys come into the car and I want to listen to a song like nice and loud, I'll go like 20 or 25 out of 35, and it's not nearly as loud. Like I don't like maxing it out when there's other people there because, like you said, it's like most likely we'll trade a few words here and there, and I don't want it to be like fucking bleeding ears business.
Thank you. I'm not a crazy
No,
person.
of
It's
course not.
rational.
I think
right?
so.
I'm gonna go on with my second favorite way,
Yeah, go
which
for
is headphones.
Oh my
I
god! Can I cut you off there for 1 second? I was gonna say my second favorite way, and in that I was gonna say my second favorite way and your first favorite way through the vinyl record player.
I like the vinyl record player, but it's not my favorite way. It's my favorite.
And it's not even second.
It's
Just
not even
based on what you're
It's-
saying.
I just like having the music
Oh,
and being able to
okay.
play it. I love
I
the
love
vinyls.
listening through the vinyl.
I love listening through the
record player,
vinyls too, but
yeah.
I like when it can get really loud, and
Mhm.
because I can't put it as loud as I want in my house,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
Okay.
I
hear
can
that.
I can choose exactly each and every song that's gonna come up that's not gonna be on the same album.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And like I love everything about the vinyls, but it's just not my. It's not. It's
You
up
don't
there.
love everything about the
I do.
vinyls.
I do.
No,
Well,
you
you
don't like that. You
Okay.
can't
I don't
pick
like
your
it.
song.
Yeah. So as I was gonna say, I like headphones because I just kind of put them on. I'm by myself.
You
No
get
one's
lost.
around me. I get lost.
It is the
Yeah.
most. I will say it is the most immersive experience by far. Like to me, it's like I don't do it often, but when I do, it's like the music hits me emotionally way more than any other medium of listening to it. Like car versus out loud in my room versus headphones. Like headphones make me feel the most when I'm listening to music. Personally.
Honestly, for me, the car hits me the most because
Really?
it can go louder than headphones in my opinion. And headphones, they can go pretty loud, but I just feel it more in the car when I'm driving and I'm doing something.
But with the car for me, it's like most of the time, unless it's like really empty out, there's gonna be significant traffic in Milton and Mississauga or wherever I'm driving. So I don't like to me when I'm focusing on driving, that takes away a little bit from me being fully immersed in the music. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't be 100% in the music when I'm driving because like,
Then you'll get in an accident.
yeah, and I have. But yeah, so I think it's like to me, it's a little bit of me can't be.
That wasn't as a consequence of the music, though.
It was not. It
Yeah.
was poor decision making, and I'm completely at fault. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, to sort of as we segue our way out of this, the one thing I feel like we haven't talked about, which I don't know how this didn't jump out to any of us, and this is definitely a personal favorite in some sense,
Bill Cosby.
concerts. Like live music.
I love concerts, but after I went to the weekend concert with these two guys,
Yeah.
my ears were ringing and they were
Really?
hurting
Yes.
for weeks.
Mine weren't that bad. Here's what I'm gonna say about concerts. To me, it is the most fun way to listen to music for sure. Like it's the most like exhilarating, but at the same time,
It's not my preferred.
it's not my preferred. And also, and why is because like when I was listening to the Weeknd sing, he was so excellent live, and you guys attest to that, Patrick and Malcolm. They came with me. He was so excellent live, but he's like, he's speaking to, he's singing through a microphone, and like it's really loud in there. There's people cheering. Like it's not like his pure voice. It's like kind of distorted a little bit by all the shit that's going on.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not the purest listening experience, and I want a pure experience. So yeah, it's definitely like really fun, but I don't prefer it.
In this part of the episode, can we put up our pictures from that concert?
Oh, I'd love to. Here we go. Ready? Bing.
Hold
Bang.
on. Hold on. The editor said no.
How many pictures
Oh
do we have?
shit.
I mean, we'll see one day maybe. That's
Okay.
a good thing for the socials,
If,
Yeah.
if Maddie ends up deciding that he'll put them up, here they are.
You're there? Yeah, so the concert for me, not my favorite way of consuming music, although I did really like the experience going to the Weekend concert. That was my first
That was
concert
awesome.
ever.
Me too.
And you too, right?
God, I loved it.
It was really good. But yeah, like what Mark was saying, it's not the best in the sense of the audio quality isn't the best. And also I'm around a bunch of people I don't know,
Sure.
which doesn't make me entirely comfortable.
That's
Sure.
fair enough.
But
don't know
something that's an advantage with it is he wasn't doing everything one-to-one with how he recorded his tracks.
Sure.
Like he was
They can
being
have
like
fun with
funky
it.
with it. Yeah, exactly. And it was fun, you know?
Some of the transitions between songs were so sick.
So sick.
Like he'd like so smoothly go from one beat into the other beat. I think there was one where it was like Crew Love and like Starboy or something. It was so sick.
Yeah.
But like to me, that added excitement because when he'd switch to the next song, your brain would be like, wait, is that? And then it would be like,
And
holy
it's
shit,
like,
he's playing
it is.
Starboy or whatever.
The thing with concerts is it's just different, and it's not better or worse. It's just different because like there are of the handful of concerts I've been to, there are live moments that can't be replicated by listening to the songs, you know, in any other way on my own, that are better than listening to it on my own. But at the same time, it's one of those things like Mark's saying, where overall I'd rather just do it on my own. The two that jump to mind, the one time I went to go see Metallica live in Toronto, they always open their concerts with the piece of music called Ecstasy of Gold from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So it's like this Western sounding kind of piece. So as soon as that song comes on, like, you know, they're taking the stage and whatever, and like hearing the whole like Rogers Center singing along with that song like is so electrifying, and you're never gonna get that on an album. And same thing last summer when I was in New York with my family and we went to go see Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden. When they did Piano Man like as the final song of the show, like the last chorus or whatever the hell it's called of the song, the band stops playing and he stops singing, and all the house lights come on in Madison Square Garden, and it's just every single person in there
that has to be surreal.
Singing the song.
Yeah.
And it is. It's like this like magnetic just thing of like, holy shit, all these thousands of people are sitting in here, you know, all singing this song that this guy wrote back at him kind of thing.
It's awe-inspiring.
And then as the crowd sings it, band kicks back in and he goes into it again kind of thing.
I will say that a really and you guys didn't enjoy this as much as I did.
Okay.
But when it's live music and it's in a bar or a lounge and that's really good for me. Like I really like
a smaller scale.
Exactly,
live
smaller
performance.
scale live performance, and I'm with like my friends or I'm with a hot date. That hasn't happened yet. But hopefully one
What
day.
about karaoke?
As in like consuming music, I like doing karaoke.
I mean, like, do you like being in a bar? Like you said, you like live performance. Do you like being in a bar?
No, I meant like
karaoke?
professional.
Professional.
People playing, not karaoke.
Side note: if anyone's interested in going on a date with Patrick, let us know.
Yeah, let me know. Hit me up.
But
You'll put up my
put up a good picture
my
of Patrick.
tag
let's put up a good picture of Patrick. Yeah, and put up
and my Instagram.
some Instagram.
And here's a
so
weekend
people
picture
can
again. All right, Malcolm, talk to me.
All right, now I know I talked to you about a topic before that you actually said you prefer, but I'm actually gonna go with my other one.
Oh
Whoa,
no!
he's shaking it up.
How dare you?
Let's talk about our favorite foods. Let's talk about how
Mm.
they make you feel. Let's talk about how they get you excited. Let's talk about all of it. What are your favorite
Dare I
foods?
say, Malcolm, food the topic.
Is that like a reference? Or
You know,
something?
it's akin to sports. The topic it's very general, but there's so much that immediately my mind starts going like crazy with different ideas. I was thinking about this morning. It's crazy that you brought this up, or it's not that crazy because food is pretty common. But
Everybody eats.
everybody isn't it crazy? Everybody does. No, but when I woke up, I was like, I think that burgers are my favorite thing to eat ever.
Can I cut you off there?
No.
I feel like in some very real way, we
Mm-hmm.
could get called out. Like everybody eats, and someone on Twitter is gonna be like, "What about the kids in Africa? They don't eat as much."
I can't eat. I can only drink out of a straw or something.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
No, but
Cry
honestly,
about it.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about burgers this morning, and I really do think that every time I go out to a restaurant, I want to order their burger. I love burgers so much. They're very versatile. You can do a lot of things with them. Patrick and Maddie and I were talking about this. I'm not sure if Malcolm, you were in this conversation, but we were talking about hot dogs versus hamburgers and how I used to be quite a hot dog guy. But to me, hamburgers are so much more flexible, like with what you can add on them and the different variations.
Not
and
even
different,
close.
It's not even close.
Burgers all the way.
Oh my God. I love cheeseburgers, bacon cheeseburgers. Put it in me.
I think
This
you
is
guys
a
are
good place
lacking.
to start though with your favorite foods.
Yeah, I
So-
think you're lacking creativity, by the way.
Sure, but-
with regards to the hot dogs,
Well, sure, but
not even
Patrick,
close.
You know what I said
It's
though?
not comparable.
You know what
I don't. Think.
You know what I said about the hot dogs though is that to me it's just me personally. I don't like relish. I don't like raw onions. Many of the common or mustard. many of the common things that people put on hot dogs, I don't personally like. That's why, to me, they're not as versatile. But burgers, there's so many things that people can put on burgers that I do like. Fresh vegetables.
What's one thing you can put on burgers that you can't put on hot dogs?
Well, what do you mean can? Like, I mean, you could put whatever you want on a hot dog, but is it going to be
like a
as
tomato
enjoyable?
doesn't go to a hot dog.
I don't think so.
I've put tomatoes on hot dogs before.
You're
That's
gross.
weird.
It was really good.
Patrick, what's your favorite food? We got burgers from Mark. Let's start there with your favorite.
I want to plead the fifth.
He's
Can you
pleading
come
the
back
fifth.
to me?
We'll come back to you. Malcolm, favorite food?
I'm not an American citizen, by the way, so I don't have that right. But go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, in general, just the chicken. So versatile. You can do
just the
so much
chicken.
with it. I find myself dreaming about all things chicken. Chicken sandwiches, chicken nuggets,
Raisin Cane's.
butter chicken, Raisin Cane's,
we're
fried chicken.
That's why we're going to Miami, by the way.
Oh my god.
There's a Raisin Cane's in Miami, and we're
12
gonna.
piece in my mouth.
Woo!
I just like to imagine Malcolm lying in bed at night with he's asleep, but he's got a big grin on his face, and he's like, if somebody walks in, and they're like, wow, he must be having really pleasant dreams, and in his head, he's at like Popeyes.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you, have no,
eating.
you have no idea how much it excites me to hear the word Ivy Arms, knowing we're going to get some fucking chicken wings.
Yeah.
I'm about to blow our chances of Popeyes sponsoring us. I
Sure.
hate Popeyes.
I was about to say this.
yeah.
To me, KFC is a stronger chain
Oh, yeah.
than Popeyes.
You're
yeah.
incorrect, but you're allowed to be that.
I'm not incorrect.
Bro,
You know why?
Popeyes is so greasy and gross.
I honestly
You
feel-
bite into the chicken
Hold on
and
a second.
I think
Yeah.
it.
I know what chicken you're talking about. It depends what. The chicken tenders at Popeyes are legit, and they're not greasy, but it's that one time we went. You're thinking of the one time we went for Popeyes and
it wasn't
ice
just
cream,
the one time, but yes, I'm also thinking.
and like
of
the
that.
deal of that day was like 2-piece chicken or 3-piece chicken or
Yeah.
whatever. So I was like, sure, I'll get it. And it was like, I don't know if it was like a breast or a leg, thigh, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like all the bone-in stuff.
Dude, our
and
hands.
It was like
our hands look
oil.
Like our hands look like we just gave someone a massage.
Like,
Not
we
just our
looked
hands.
like-
I bit into it, and
It
oil was
sprayed.
running down.
Yeah, it looked like we had just like done a slip and slide that was all olive oil, like
Honestly,
baby oil.
I think that's
or
just a
whatever.
bad experience at Popeyes. I've never had that at Popeyes.
My mom got it last week. Same thing. What do
Okay,
you
but
mean?
What I'm saying is, but again, the tenders are legit and they are not greasy in the slightest.
Are
What
you
I'm
a
saying
child?
I
is
agree with Maddie
you
on
can't-
that.
Are you
I
a
agree with
child?
Maddie
You
on
order chicken fingers and fries wherever you go?
Yeah, I do. You fucking bitch. Not everywhere, but
Kids
specifically
menu.
at Popeyes. But what I'm saying is, you can't diss Popeyes like
I
that
think it differs on the location too. Personally,
based off of
I
like
can-
the one food.
I can
that's
and I
greasy.
am. I can and I am because KFC doesn't have that.
You think
Okay.
Popeyes is better in Louisiana?
Probably.
love that chicken from Popeyes.
Mhm.
But honestly,
Sponsor us.
here's what I'm gonna say about KFC though.
Mm-hmm.
KFC is so consistent.
And sponsor us, please.
Every KFC that I've been to, it's all mediocre but yummy, right? I just
I'm
it's
just
all-
not a KFC. fan.
Honestly, to me, KFC is subpar.
it,
I
it-
don't
Same.
like KFC.
I
So
agree.
subpar is in like below average.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what is too
yeah.
for me. McDonald's is mediocre food. It's not quality food, but they're always consistent and they're always tasty.
That's
But
a strong
not,
argument.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like I know McDonald's is garbage, but it tastes good. KFC is also garbage, but I just don't enjoy it.
Interesting.
Like it's just not for
I
me.
agree with that.
But anyways,
It's like Die Hard. It's so bad and it's not enjoyable.
So
Alright, here
there's
we
two
go.
things that are going to occur in the future, and once this is up on the internet, we can look back and you guys can see that I predicted this.
right?
One, you're going to lose your hearing before me.
Sure.
Two, you're going to have heart problems before me.
Sure.
honestly, with
But-
the
well,
first-
I'm not eating it like constantly. I'm just saying like,
You would rather go with the place that gushes oil into your veins and arteries.
but I don't
bro.
get the stuff that gushes oil. I get the chicken tenders, which don't have any grease.
Patrick, you know what I'll say though is that with the first thing that you said about him not being able, like him not having great hearing, it's fine 'cause he's not going to hear you saying that. He'll be able to.
I'll
I can
look
rub it
back
in his
on
face, though.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
look
yeah.
back on it. I'll just be like, what? What the was I gonna say? So we got burgers. We got the chicken, just the animal from Malcolm.
I don't like
Patrick.
how I like and don't like how he threw the word "the" in front of chicken.
The chicken.
The chicken.
It's like a foreign dude being like, "Oh, the Michael Jackson."
Patrick, do you still need time to think here?
I
or
need to
can we
plead the
compete?
fifth one
He's
more
gonna
time.
plead the
My
fifth.
goodness.
I'm just gonna toss it out there.
Can I guess?
Let's stop fucking around.
I guess?
please?
Pasta.
Close, but
Oh.
no cigar. It's pizza time.
Oh,
yep.
Ain't nothing better on this earth.
You're right. There's
Then a
nothing better on this earth than
Good
pineapples and
slice.
pizza,
Nope,
baby.
Nope, that's a point I refuse to stand.
Huh?
Stand on. I don't know. I me no English too good there.
Miso.
English or English. Now you got me all fucked up. Shit.
I was about to say miso horny.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
I
go
thought-
with Jar Jar. Misa.
Misa.
Misa, no English?
He said no English. No pizza. Let's get down. Let's talk seriously for a minute.
Okay.
It's got to be.
Pineapples on pizza.
No.
It's got to be like the kind you put in. I don't
wood
know how to
oven?
You
describe
get
it.
a wood oven, flat, thin crust, big, foldable New York slice.
Pause.
Ain't nothing better.
Pause.
Oh yeah.
You are 100% right, and I can't even begin to emphasize that. But
Can't
to
stress
me,
that.
okay, we're gonna talk about toppings now. For me, I know this is a kind of a hot take. Cheese, just cheese. That's my preference for pizza, dude.
Here's the thing with pizza, though. You mentioned earlier the versatility of burgers.
Oh, that's true.
That is what I think is what pizza's biggest strong suit is, because whether you like a plain kind of cheese like you do, if you're one of these sick, demented people like
Now I'm gonna
Patrick
jump
who
in
likes
before you
pineapple.
finish. Before you finish this point, I
Jump.
need to jump in. Of the 4 people at this table, 3 are at least okay with pineapples on pizza. That's 75%.
I do enjoy pineapple.
It's
on
real
pizza.
good.
So
It's real good.
There
Yeah,
you go.
the three of
You're
you-
the minority.
The
here.
3 of you are sick and demented. But what I'm saying is, whether you like something that's a little more off the beaten path, like pineapple, or you want just like bare bones cheese, or somebody like me who wants some fucking pepperoni, just give me a slice of
I love
pepperoni. What I'm saying with
pepperoni.
pizza is, it is just like there's a million ways to go with it, and I'm not even talking like strictly toppings. That doesn't even get into people who like deep dish or like a slightly thicker kind of crust
Or thin.
or thin, again, the way God intended. But specifically ignoring all that and just talking about toppings, there's so much you
I
can
know.
put on pizza. Literally a couple weeks ago, we ordered a pizza from Pizzaville, and I don't know how they
Are you talking
bungled
about
this.
we in terms of us or your family?
My family. I don't know how the people bungled this, but my mom ordered a meat lovers. Somehow it came with like, you know, a normal cheese pizza, but it had bacon on it. And oh my god, I'm drawing a blank here. What are the fish?
Sardines.
Sardine.
Is sardines?
Anchovies.
Anchovies. Anchovies is what it was. For years, my entire life, growing up watching cartoons, probably is what did it to me. It was always anchovies on pizza. Gross. And there was like a little anchovy, like just one little anchovy on each slice of this pizza that we ordered. And I took one of them off, and it was like a tiny, mini, like really salty sardine. And I was like, holy shit, this is fantastic. I've been sleeping on
Yeah.
anchovies on pizza. And it's just, what a perfect food.
Honestly,
get behind that.
speaking generally about pizza, has everyone here seen The Office?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a quote from Michael Scott where he's talking. He brings pizza for like the factory workers, and there was like some sort of dispute and everyone was unhappy. And to solve it, he just ordered pizza, and then he's getting interviewed by the cameraman. And he's like, "Man, pizza! Like white people love pizza, black people love pizza, everybody loves pizza." Like this is hilarious shot where he's talking about like everyone's very like angry and yelling at each other, and then it cuts to them eating the pizza. And the cameraman zooms in on like one of the black guys like eating pizza and the thing, and he's like all smiles and stuff. And then it cuts to Michael Scott, and he's like nodding. He's like, "I did it."
I was gonna say though, because I have my own quote about pizza, and I've told this to you guys before. And here's the other thing that I love
Is it
about
the
pizza.
sex quote?
No.
Is it that pizza is like sex? It's like even if it's not great, it's still pretty good.
Well, I don't often compare it to sex, but yes, that boiled down quote to me is entirely true. Even not good pizza
Yep.
is still like
Dude,
all right pizza.
Even, like,
put
shitty
it this
chain
way.
pizza,
Here's
yeah.
what I'll ask you guys, and Patrick, I feel like is going to be the one outlier in this because he's a bit of a crazy person. But what I'm going to ask you is, have you ever in your life bit into a slice of pizza, like when you wanted pizza, bit into it and turned it down? Been like, I'm not eating this.
No.
Because I cannot think of a single example in my life of ever biting into a pizza and being like, this is so bad, I'm
Dude,
not eating
I
this.
know,
Dude,
I know you
even-
directed this question at Patrick, but the answer is yes.
Really?
There's been times where my parents have ordered Pizza Nova and gotten like all sorts of vegetables on their pizza. And first of all, Pizza Nova is gross to begin with. And to put all these vegetables on it, nothing. It's like chicken, artichokes, like onions, peppers.
Do you think
I was
Pizza
like-
Nova is going to sponsor us?
not anymore. They're not.
I don't want them to.
You know what I'm gonna
I
say?
don't want no Pizza Nova.
At this rate,
from
we're
you.
gonna have no sponsors.
Here's what I'm gonna say about what Malcolm was talking about. To me, it's like I've bitten into pizza and been like in the back of my head, this is kind of gross. This is a really bad pizza, and then I eat 7 more slices.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even the times, there's definitely been times where you guys have ordered like a Hawaiian pizza, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh god, here we go with this pineapple stuff, and I'll still eat it.
Crush a couple pizzas.
Still crush a couple slices
yeah.
without even blinking.
Housing
dude.
it.
Housing
Now,
this shit.
it's-
Just trouncing it. And
it's-
that's what I'm saying, where it's
yeah.
like, it's just, even pizza I don't want is still getting eaten.
It's
But here's-
rare, but I've turned down pizza once, and I've not like the reason why I turned down pizza this one time, What am I trying to say here? It's not. It's not. This reason isn't a deal breaker, is what I'm trying to say. Okay,
Right.
but there's this one time where barbecue sauce was the base, and I was like,
Honestly,
not gonna do it.
that could be too much. It could be too rich. But speaking to the versatility of pizza, you can switch out the base. I've had a white sauce pizza, delicious.
Oh, we had that. We all had that.
We
together,
did.
right?
It's
That was
really good.
That
really
sounds
good.
like a sin,
Bro, it's
against
so
God.
It's so, you know what it's like, and you gotta be with me on this. And if you're not, you're dumb. It's like when you have pasta and you have like a Alfredo or like a white sauce pasta and with chicken and it's really good, and then you have your red sauce pasta, your rosé, whatever, and they're both delicious. You may have a preference, but you can appreciate both. And I feel like if you haven't tried white sauce pizza, it's a very similar situation where it's like, maybe I don't prefer this over the red sauce, but it's still pretty good.
And then that's why I won't oppose you so strongly, because I haven't tried it yet.
Fair enough.
Patrick, do you have your favorite food now?
I do.
Before you do that though,
Yeah.
speaking about burgers and pizza, I still prefer burgers, and here's why. If you asked me, like, hey, all four of us are going to get food right now, would you rather some slices of pizza or your own burger? Dude, it's not even close. I want my own burger.
You're saying I pick burgers over pizza because in this moment I feel like I want burgers over pizza?
No, I'm
Okay.
saying, like, if I put myself in the mindset of being hungry, I'm not really hungry right now.
Okay.
But like just thinking about being hungry, if you offered me like my own personal cooked burger and I get to pick what I put on it, or my own personal like pretty good pizza, dude, pretty good burger versus pretty good pizza, I'm going burger.
That's a hard choice.
It is a hard choice.
But let's go to Patrick.
Patrick, I'm just going to toss one last quick thing in here. I'm
Go
so
for it.
sorry to keep you waiting, but you pled the fifth so much. In terms of the war between pizza and burgers, part of the thing too with pizza for me is in terms of like the actual like physicality of eating it.
It's easier
where
to
I feel
eat.
like burger is slightly more of a whole thing. Where what I'm
Yeah,
saying in terms of like
could be.
a good like the pizza I'm talking about, like a classic New York slice, you just fold that shit up.
It goes
and
down.
It's just,
It goes down easier than water.
it does. It's just
It's like you, especially a thin crust, like a New York
Yes.
style. You,
Oh my God.
You
Oh
fold
my
it up.
God.
You fold it up. Before you know it, 30 seconds later, you don't have anything in your hands.
I have to agree with Mark on the thin crust. When I get a classic Italian pizza from a place downtown Toronto and it's thin and it's like the Italian, it's like the crispy crust and everything.
Yep.
It's a full pizza. It's just sliced in four. I just fold it up and the whole thing's gone.
as a last tangent before we cut to Patrick here.
Yep.
At some point, the four of us are going to go to New York, and we are going to eat pizza slice
Yep.
after pizza slice after pizza slice. And I think we can all. Thank you for the applause. I think we can all get behind that. Now, Patrick, I'm sorry we've kept you waiting long enough. What is your food?
But when you plead the fifth that many times, you gotta take the time off.
Yeah, that's true. You kind of sacrifice your rights a little bit. But anyways,
I'm dying to hear this, Patrick. Go ahead.
And that's
No.
it.
No.
what do you mean no? Just reject.
I will not talk.
This
I will
is
not.
this is the preamble I'm gonna give. I'm gonna be very brief about this.
Please.
Okay. I can't pick a favorite food. There are too many.
I'm rolling my eyes so hard they went into the back
There
of
are
my head.
so many foods I love, but I will pick a food that I love. So disclaimer, not necessarily my favorite.
If you say
Sushi.
fucking pigeon throat, I was gonna say.
Dude, you ruined the
You ruined it.
announcement.
I'm so sorry.
Patrick, your favorite food?
Sushi. Not hold on. What? Why would I give that preamble if it was just gonna end up being that?
one of your favorite foods, and,
Yes,
and
thank you.
arguably your favorite food.
One of my favorite foods. Not that last.
not arguably.
Sushi.
Sushi definitely up there.
It's amazing.
Sushi is legit.
You know what's funny? The man who hates fish has just stepped away from the table. Malcolm.
He took his cue to go get water. He was
Yeah.
like, I don't need to.
And
eat
He's like,
this."
I'm not part of this.
And honestly, like, here's the thing with sushi though. I love sushi.
What was that? Here's the thing with sushi though, as if it's like a negative.
No.
Like you're about to shit on my favorite food.
He's about to
I'm
dump
about-
on
Not.
it.
Sorry.
I'm about.
Not my
Here we
favorite
go.
food.
I'm about to subjectively talk about how I think about sushi. To me,
Fair
it's
enough.
like I really like sushi. I don't love sushi, and then it's one of those things where like when you guys are like, oh, let's go to this restaurant. I'm not gonna say the restaurant.
Why?
I don't know.
Say it.
168.
Okay.
When we say we're gonna
so good.
when we say let's go to 168, I'm like I'm really excited. But at the same time, there's a ceiling for sushi for me. Like I'm kind of picky with sushi, and I don't like all the different types. You guys are much more adventurous,
Yes.
and it's just kind of like the enjoyment level. Let's say caps out at a 6 out of 10, and it's really enjoyable. But to me, it's like nowhere near as much as I can enjoy a really good slice of pizza or a burger.
I hear that. So building on Maddie's sort of propositions here, New York pizza, sushi, Japan.
Oh
That's
my God,
that's
dude.
another
Get me
trip that's gonna
started.
occur.
Dude, imagine flying to Japan.
Yeah. Imagine being out $2,000 flying to Japan.
Dude, imagine flying to. Let's just get crazy with it. Imagine flying to Japan first class,
Oh my god, out $4,000.
There's a nice Japanese woman giving you what do you call
What?
it?
Some sake.
Some sake.
Oh, okay.
Some sake and then some some
Okay.
alcohol.
Where's he going with this? I was like, where's he going with
Some
this?
sake and some alcohol.
Yeah.
Sake.
Give me some sake and then give me your classic Japanese alcohol. But yeah, I just feel like it's the idea of Japan is so exciting to me. I want to go see the cherry blossoms.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go like walking down Tokyo and like get some fucking ramen and
I
shit.
want to eat, dude.
Yeah, I wanna-
Oh my goodness.
Honestly, I feel like people oversell like things to see on vacation. Like I want to see this monument or I want to see this museum, whatever. My immediate thought is I want to eat everywhere. Like when we're talking about Florida, I'm like I want to go to all the places in the States that don't exist in Canada. All the restaurants, all the fast food places, whatever. Like
Honestly,
that's my number one priority. Aside
am-
from like, yeah.
I'm the exact same. Now that I'm going to Europe with Isabel, of course I'm psyched about Europe. Never been there before. All these monuments and everything. All I can think about is what I'm gonna eat in Hungary. What I'm gonna eat in Italy, Slovakia. It's gonna be crazy. All the meat everywhere.
It's just that is one of, if not like the best things about traveling is just the food and just like
And
eating
people
all
don't-
this stuff.
just getting in
That's
there.
so much better than it is here. Because like I love, for example, prosciutto. Wonderful. I don't know what Patrick was just doing.
He was like so close to the with his like tongue to the mic.
Oh my
He was just flicking. He was flicking his tongue at the
Calm
mic.
down, Patrick.
I was pretending to lick it as if it was ice cream.
Oh, good. I love prosciutto. One of my favorite meats ever. However, the best prosciutto I have had in my life has been the times I've been in Portugal. Like nothing here comes even close to the times of being in Portugal where like my grandpa would go get like the pork leg and just put it on a little stand in the kitchen and you would just walk up and slice
Shave
a
it.
hunk off
Oh my
with a knife
God.
whenever you wanted.
Dude, that's
bro,
unreal.
that's so haram, man.
So
Honestly,
My,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Malcolm.
my grandpa had a big leg just in the cold room, and he would just slice prosciutto every
oh
now
my
and then.
god.
Human?
Yeah, so I was about to say human leg.
Human
No,
prosciutto?
not a human leg. I don't know what animal.
I don't know if any.
You don't know animal?
I don't know if any of the listeners are watching The Last of Us, but shout out to cannibalism.
What?
What I was gonna say, Maddie, is that when I went to Egypt, I like fish. The fish there is unbelievable, dude.
Shout out to Alexandria.
Shout out to Alexandria, dude. My grandma made like very basic like brown rice with like I don't know what kind of fish it was. It might have been like cod or something. I don't remember what kind of fish it was, to be honest. Or really big in Egypt is tilapia. I think they have that. So she made it like they literally like caught it the morning of or whatever, and they buy it from the fucking like market. It's so flaky and delicious. It's just like you can't match it. Even if you have the same exact fish and you ship it over, that shipping process like takes away some of the
That's
flavor.
gonna fuck it up.
We went to Alexandria last summer, and we went to a restaurant by the ocean, and we dropped as a family like 14,000 pounds
Good lord.
on fish.
I know that sounds like
It
a
was-
lot, but
It's
it's probably
20
like
cents.
1,400. Did you say
14,000.
14,000?
We dropped a lot of money.
Oh, okay,
That's a lot of
that's-
Canadian
that's
as
like-
well.
that's
That's
still-
like $20 Canadian.
No, it's still at least a grand Canadian.
Oh my goodness.
14.
Uh,
No, it's gotta be like 140 bucks.
No, not a
maybe.
grand Canadian.
It's probably like at least $700 to $800. Type, isn't it?
That doesn't sound right.
No.
Well, do it. Do the conversion.
Do some math for us. Yeah, I just food.
Holy shit.
Where do you
What
go?
is it?
$965.
Oh my
Ooh.
Mark
Wait,
was
wait.
$35
Dude,
off.
I was so fucking angry internally when they were like, "No fucking way."
Bro was on it. Food is like kind of like how Mark said at the beginning that it's very broad, kind of like when I talked about sports and whatever.
One of my favorite
some
topics,
the
by the
things
way.
in the first episode. It's one of those things that I'm sure we'll come back to over time. Because even just talking about pizza, I was like, man, pizza could have just been a topic
Oh my god,
yeah.
unto
dude,
itself.
that is so genius to just say my topic is pizza.
Right?
dude? Fucking unbelievable.
And that's what I'm saying. Where it's like, so I feel like we'll get back to food one day, and we don't have to like belabor
Genius
the
is
point.
the adjective.
It is genius. Honestly, I don't use that word very often.
Yeah.
Maddie's topic of sports was genius because not only can we talk about our own particular tastes, we can talk about sports in general and why they inspire us, and that was one
We
of my
didn't
favorite.
talk about that though.
We did.
Why it inspires us?
Yeah, we talked about
did.
sports in terms of like why we like sports, not just for the specific sports, but for the camaraderie, for like the atmosphere, the
Storytelling.
storytelling.
Oh,
Like we talked about why sports inspires in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Food's definitely got that. Like as we
100%.
sort of, I mean, like I said, we don't have to belabor this too much, and I guarantee we will get back to food
Definitely.
topics in the future. But I mean, we're 3 weeks in, and we've already had
2 foods.
food aversions in the
Yeah.
beginning and food now, so you can tell these
We-
boys.
We love food.
They like to eat. We like to eat.
and we like music.
And
Plenty-
we like music.
God.
But what I was going to say is if we wanted to, let's say, end food in a somewhat philosophical way like we did with sports, that is one thing with food that I don't know if you necessarily intended this, Malcolm, because I think we were just going to talk about eating food, but there's something about food,
sharing food, like that kind of camaraderie thing, and like the family telling, not family telling, but the family, like the familial family recipes and like the things that get carried down through like generations. And you know, when there's like something that your mom makes that her mom made, that their mom made, that their great whoever made, that, you know, it doesn't even matter anymore who, it just like has gone through generations kind of thing. Like there's something about that I find it warms the heart.
It warms the heart, and it's something that like is a really great thing of like bonding people. Like I know I'm not the first person to say this, but like where people have talked about like, you know, the quickest way to people's hearts, or to like get people to like, you know, put shit aside and
pants.
Like get them to keep it in their pants and like get people together is just like breaking bread kind of thing.
For sure.
Like there's something about that.
Even you're 100% right. Even when I go to Egypt, like sometimes my Arabic isn't great, and sometimes I can't really connect with my grandparents and my family members there that well because their English isn't great and my Arabic's pretty broken. But sitting around a big table and everyone going, "Oh, that's so good!" Like that's a universal thing of just like the noises that it's like everyone's looking at each other being like, "Oh, this is really good. This is like a passed down from generation to generation." Like there's no better feeling than sitting down at a big table with a family that you love and you're enjoying good food.
I love splitting wings. I loved it.
That's what it's all about.
Why did you give me that look?
What do you mean? You
gave me a look as if like, fuck this guy.
Oh my goodness. No, but that's what it's all about. Just like hanging around and just whether it is like if you're with family or just with friends, you know.
Even with friends, even though like
it's different, but it's still
even though we can't like I said I can't connect with my family members that much in Egypt because my Arabic isn't great. Even though I can connect with you guys like conversationally, nothing gets me as excited as when we're all like in on food together. Like, oh, we're all gonna order food,
right?
And like it's
is
so
that
exciting.
Why you always push us to get food?
It is, dude. It is why. And sometimes I don't even want to ask Maddie because he always says no. And it's better for him that he eats at home. Like I should eat more at home for sure.
Yeah.
But like it's one of those things where when we're all in, it's like holy shit, all four of us are in.
I love breaking bread with people.
Exactly. Well, literally, I was thinking, and I mean, I was gonna say this off air, but I'm just gonna toss
food
it out there now. At some point, we need to. I know it's a little pricier, but like now it's in my head, and I've thought about it and convinced myself of it, and there's nothing that's going to change my mind.
Does it start with a P?
We got to go to Goodfellas at some point.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Pascalino's.
Sure, we could do Pascalino's one day, but we got to go to Goodfellas at some point and just get some nice.
You should get Pascalino's on your mind.
It's always on my mind.
Moving on to Maddie.
Let's go. Okay, so I just, between topics, made the three of you watch the trailer for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie coming out in a few months. And what I want to talk to you fellas about today, another one of these broad topics that can go anywhere.
It's trailers.
Animation.
Ooh.
May I make a comment?
Please.
When the trailer played, I made a comment that I like the art style because it's reminiscent of Into the Spider-Verse, which I do like the art style. But then the second I saw the turtles themselves, this doesn't work. That was the first thought that went through my mind.
What doesn't work?
This art style with the turtles.
Why?
It just something about it. It's ineffable. Like at the moment, it's ineffable. At least I don't know why, but it's not clicking right now.
Well, you think it over until you reach the right answer. But anyways, animation. I am such a mark for animation. I am just a total sucker for it.
That's
I
my
love
name.
it. That's his name.
Did you mean that?
Yeah.
Like as to reference Mark, or
no,
is
like,
that
like I think it's
is
a
that
thing.
Thing.
Oh,
I'm saying like I'm a sucker for animation.
You're learning so much today. The more you know.
That's condescending.
That's good.
I know that came across really condescending. That was supposed to be more of like a joke, and it
for
just
you.
came across like a total douche. Anyways, cartoons, animation. I can't get enough. I'm such a sucker for it, and I think what it stems from is similar to how I love comic books and video games. Animation is a medium that is limitless or has limitless potential in terms of what it can do. And I know like with movies, CG's at a point where like, you know, they can do a movie like Avatar that's like so convincing and engrossing in this world, but like it's not always a guaranteed hit. Like, put it this way, I will ask you guys this. We just saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania like a couple weeks ago. that movie is so much CGI sci-fi gobbledygook that it just like hurt the movie for me, where I'm like, none of this is real. It's all green screens and like, you know, the like video wall things they do down, all this stuff. Like, it's just all fake and ridiculous. But I will ask you this. If Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was completely animated, would you have even thought about half the shit going on like within the quantum realm and the things they're involved in?
My immediate answer is no, because it's like, I think it's just the contrast between live action people and what's clearly like a green screen behind them.
Yes, this is what I'm getting at.
That contrast is like jarring, and it makes you think about it more. But like you said, animation is limitless. So if you have something that's full animation, you can do whatever the fuck you want. No one's gonna be like, whoa, what the hell?
And that's what I'm saying. Animation, similar to comic books and video games, has that thing where because you can think it and create it, it instantly works. Obviously, there are like bad animations like that are poorly done or like whatever that can take you out of something. But I'm saying good animation, like good art in a comic book, like good art design in a video game, doesn't have that same problem that movies or TV have when they're trying to do what is all animated in, let's say, Ant-Man, except for the people. Everything else is like not real except for the people, and that it doesn't work specifically in Ant-Man, but definitely other examples. It's almost like people compared it where it's like freaking Spy Kids.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks wrong.
And
whereas
also,
if like, that's why I was saying, whereas if Ant-Man was a fully animated movie, I guarantee you I wouldn't have that same issue of like, this looks weird.
You know what? A part of it for me is like, I feel like unless you're a top tier actor, I'm not saying they're bad actors in the movie necessarily, but like there's times where they were walking through the quantum realm or whatever, and they're kind of like looking around, and I don't know, it just feels very like fake to me in terms of like how they're looking around, like, whoa, look at that over there, and they're just kind of like overdoing like looking around and stuff.
Right.
So I don't know, to me that's another disconnect.
Because it's like, from a technical like behind the scenes perspective, it's like the actors have to line up eye lines with things they aren't looking at that don't exist, whereas somebody doing an animation, the eye line matches because they're drawing the character and the thing they're looking at. So like, it's all this seamless thing. So I don't mean to go on too much more with this preamble, but I just
preamble me, baby.
That's, I guess, where, let's say, the love affair I have with animation stems from, and I want to just get into specifically.
You didn't discuss that.
What?
You didn't discuss where it stems from.
I said similar to video games and comic books. It's this thing with limitless potential.
Am I not listening?
You're a piece of
Apparently
shit.
not.
Jesus.
My goodness.
All I remember was you saying something about
Can
Ant-Man.
I throw something in here? I really want to talk about my favorite type of animation.
Oh, we're going to get there in a second. But the one thing I wanted to say is not to like close any avenue with this off, because you guys take it however you want. But I kind of want to save like kids shows.
Sure.
For like its own thing one day. Like, we'll get into SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, all that stuff one day.
Don't give it away.
So like, if you want to touch on those things, I'm not going to stop you. Obviously, do whatever you want. It's a free country for now. But like, you know, I would kind of save that for more of a different topic one day, and you know, let's just keep it a different animation. But Mark, favorite animation style, you said?
Yeah.
Please.
So a couple of my favorite movies ever, animated movies, are Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs,
here we go,
and Coraline, all of which happen to be stop motion animation.
Yes, sir.
Stop motion is so fucking cool to me. I don't know much about it. All I know is that it takes my breath away.
Take my breath.
There you go.
Sorry.
I mean, I was thinking more of the Berlin one.
I'm sorry.
From Top Gun. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's so beautiful. It's so, like, because it's practical, like it's very like you can see fine details and stuff, which is so cool. Because like, when you look at a CGI thing like an Ant-Man, it kind of just looks like glossed over, and like, I don't know, it's not that like
it's almost too clean.
Sure, yeah, it's too processed.
Whereas like, looking at like The Nightmare Before Christmas, for example,
you
like, you
gonna-
almost can see the little
Are you
odds and ends.
gonna keep contradicting yourself now?
Why?
Because
What did I do?
No, he's talking about CGI, and he was talking.
before you were saying, oh, like it sticks out, and it's it's I don't even know all the
But
adjectives you're using, but the gist of what you were saying before was that it sticks out and it's not right, but now it's too clean and
No,
it's
but
too...
I'm saying it sticks out. Yeah, but it being too clean is, in a way, part of why it sticks out. It's the same thing that bugs me with the Star Wars prequels, where it's like all the CG in that. Like, if you look at, I get the prequels are a different time and it is supposed to maybe make sense, but like the original trilogy has this like almost grime to it, where everything feels like lived in, and every like button feels like it's been pressed 1,000 times, and like, you know, the paint's starting to chip on things. Whereas you look at like a lot of the CG crap they do in the prequels, and it's like, this just came off the assembly line and has never been touched by a single human being ever. Like, it's too, it's too artificial.
Don't you dare badmouth Star Wars Episode 3, please.
Yeah, I know it's your favorite, but
I agree with Maddie, and I didn't see Ant-Man Quantumania, but the movie that comes to mind, I think of something I'm not impressed with, is the last Doctor Strange movie. I just wasn't impressed. I feel like everything going on was just
too wacky.
It seemed really fake to me. I was like, this doesn't look real. It doesn't look like they put effort into a set. Like, I love when they put effort into a set and make everything look real. They make everything look old. They make it look like this has been lived through for 1,000 years.
So you'd say like you're more of a fan of practical effects.
Yeah, I like practical.
Like Christopher
effects.
Nolan is big for that, like in Inception and Interstellar. Like a lot of the stuff is like physical set pieces that he makes, which gives it a more grounded, real feel to it.
And here's the thing, Malcolm. In a slight analog to Doctor Strange, did you have a single problem with the film like Into the Spider-Verse?
No, I loved Into the Spider-Verse.
And I'm not even saying like as a movie, but I'm saying like visually, like was there things that like take you out of it or throw it off?
Not really. No.
And exactly, that's like kind of the point I'm getting at in some sense, where it's like, even to Mark's point about stop motion, where it's just, it doesn't, when utilized correctly, that limitless potential is what I feel makes it such a strong medium and an art form.
And it's pure too. It's not like convoluted with like trying to have like a green screen of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's a pure art that they're just making.
Yeah, it's something somebody sat down and did. I mean, I know there's like CG stuff, which, not to take away from CG animation,
a lot of work,
like that's still a lot of work, and obviously has a lot of personal touches to it. But like, let's say hand drawn stuff, for example, like it's like people sat, you know, and drew frame by frame,
dude,
like this thing to make it look, you know, this beautiful.
There's this scene I have to talk about, and it's from Isle of Dogs. Have you guys seen it?
No.
Yes.
Maddie's seen it, and Maddie really enjoys it.
Good
but
movie.
There's this scene, and it's stop motion animation, and there's a scene where this guy, the sushi chef, is like, he has like a wooden plank, and he's preparing the sushi. He's like cutting up the octopus and like cutting up the fish, and it's like, it's so smooth and seamless. You couldn't even tell it's like stop motion. It's like so fucking perfect.
And that's one of those examples in animation that I appreciate every once in a while, where it feels like the animators are flexing on the audience to be like, check this shit out.
Look how smooth and perfect.
And that scene that you're talking about in Isle of Dogs, where the guy's like preparing the sushi, is one of those moments where it's like the animation team being like, check this shit out.
It's crazy.
And I feel like, again, to go back to something like Spider-Verse has moments like that. There are like tons of anime shows and films that have moments like that, where it's like,
every frame,
we're gonna blow your mind away with this.
You could pause Spider-Verse at any point, and it's always gonna be like, look at how much detail
and something I want to hang on my wall, where it's like this, like I would put this up.
That movie is one of the most impressive movies I've ever seen in my life. Not just because of how beautiful it was visually, but because of the quality writing and the good plot.
They just nailed it. What I love about Spider-Verse is how it's so clearly impacted like the way other studios are handling animation, because you guys haven't seen
the Kid Cudi show,
most recent. Well, there's the Kid Cudi thing on Netflix, which I haven't watched yet. That definitely has aped that style. But you guys haven't seen the most recent Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, which, by the way, fantastic, and we're gonna sit down and watch it at some point.
Is it influenced by it?
But that, like, Puss in Boots is so clearly influenced by Spider-Verse from like an animation perspective, and again, the TMNT trailer we just watched is so clearly
100%.
Spider-Verse influenced, and that, like, comic booky, playing with frame rates, playing with different animation styles in like the same thing that Spider-Verse sort of pioneered, I love so much. That's like pixel art to me in games, where it's like I would take like one or two of these kinds of movies a year, which is different properties of like, give me a Transformers movie in this style, give me a G.I. Joe movie in this style. Like, keep giving me this shit.
Can we talk about how beautiful some of the screenshots from like Shovel Knight are?
Oh my god!
Like, I've seen, it's one of Maddie's favorite games, but like Shovel Knight is like this really dope. I played it on the DS. Is it Nintendo exclusive? Is that what it was? Not
it's
really.
everywhere.
It's everywhere, and it's just really cool. Like, how many bits is it?
8-bit.
It's 8-bit, and it's like there's some scenes where it's like a loading screen in between levels, and the little Shovel Knight guy, he's like this like knight with armor, and he has like a little shovel with him, and he'll be sitting at the campfire, and there's like the orange and the red of the fire, and then the dark deep blue of the sky, and it's only 8-bit, but it looks so stunning. Like it's so crazy how simplistic, older art styles can still look unbelievable.
Video game animation is like a whole other thing that I didn't even think about going into this with, because I was like talking about more like animations you watch. But yeah, video game animations too are a whole other thing that are impressive in different ways. Like, yeah, looking at certain pixel art, such as Shovel Knight, is just impressive as shit. But even stuff like what Naughty Dog does, a game like Uncharted 4 or Last of Us 2, looking at the animations on the faces of people,
it's fucking stupid.
Is such a like,
it's so insane,
befuddling thing of how do they get it this good?
I don't know. And
this
not even
convincing.
It used to be like, what are those games like the League of Legends or the World of Warcraft? So it used to be that those like CGI trailers were like, holy shit, that's crazy. You'd play the game, and obviously those games are different styles, but it used to always be that the cutscenes were what blew people away, even back in the day. Now, if you play The Last of Us Part 2, for example, and you're like running around as Ellie, you can like put down the controller and move the camera angle to whatever you want to look at, and just pause it there and look, and it looks unbelievable. It looks like real life.
Well, from an animation perspective too, because what you're saying with older games, I love the God of War series. The original first 2 games on PS2 were so impressive at the time because the games look good, and I still think they hold up in some respect. But the cutscenes in those games genuinely look really impressive. But then you get to the game, and it's a different thing. And you look at God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, where there's no camera cuts, and the game does not switch between like cutscene and game. Because like, how many years did we play video games where you'd be playing the game and then it does a quick cut to black and then the cutscene starts? And there's like this separation between the two, and the cutscene always looks a little better than the game. Whereas like, it's at a point now from like an animation and design perspective where it's a seamless thing that just there isn't as big of a difference between cutscene and game.
Even not at like 2013, as recently as 2013 with The Last of Us, it wasn't like no transitions. Like there's a moment. Remember that moment in the original game where there's like the whole David scene in the burning camp, and like you run up as Joel, and I'm pretty sure it cuts.
Yeah,
it
Last
cuts
of
black.
Us has those cuts. Yeah, they might have gotten rid of it in the
part
PS5 remaster thing they've done, but for sure when that game launched in 2013, it had, you're playing, the game cuts to black for a second, comes back, and it's a cutscene.
Yeah, but now, you're Kratos and you're running around, and you run into, let's say, Atreus being attacked or whatever, his son, and there's no cut to black. There's just like you're running in the gameplay, and then the gameplay just continues, and then it just all looks like one thing.
You're not on the sticks anymore necessarily. Like, you're not controlling it, but it's this seamless thing.
I'm gonna ask Maddie a specific question, and you guys tell me if you've experienced this as well. Sometimes I'm playing newer video games like on the PS5, and I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm supposed to be controlling this. I thought it was a cutscene. It looks so good, and I'm like, and then I start moving, and he starts moving. I'm like, holy shit. It blows my mind.
That does. I don't have that happen too often, but I've definitely heard people have that experience where they'll be watching a cutscene and the cutscene ends and they almost don't know it yet, and they're just sitting there and they're like, oh wait, and they push forward on the stick and they start moving. They're like, I'm back in the game.
It looks too stunning. I'm like, I can't believe I'm actually controlling this.
It's an insane thing, but that's all the more video game path. But for the other two of you schmucks here to get you off the bench, animation, cartoons, what are things you like? Do you engage with the medium at all, or is it more a thing of the past?
While you guys think for half a second, can I throw in a couple things? The sushi scene from Isle of Dogs. Coraline, the purple bluish tunnel where she crawls through. Love the way that looks visually. Fantastic Mr. Fox, the scene of the hill and the tree, and it's like an orange sky in the background and like the reddish tree. It's like there's so many beautiful moments in those movies, and I love all three of those movies so much, and like the animation style just blows me away every time. But that's what I'll have to say about that. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, with regards to animation,
is it fair to say that you're not a big animation guy, or do you really like animation?
It all depends on how you define that. Like, based on me listening to what you guys were going through back and forth there, I guess comparatively, I'm not as big of an animation guy, quote unquote. That's not to say like I don't appreciate animation. But I want to go back to when you guys were talking about how stunning they get these games. And truly, it's like, because I took Comtech in grade 11. One of the projects was making a sort of an animated clip Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was the thing they had us do all those years ago, where we were working with frickin' Adobe Flash to make a quick little animation.
And we're doing it frame by frame. It's so incredibly difficult.
And it looks
and
terrible.
just to imagine, mine ended up looking terrible. I did some stupid Obi-Wan thing where he beats Grievous or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember? Were we in the same class?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I wish I had those like saved somewhere. The website that they had us make.
Oh yeah,
where all that stuff lives.
Yeah.
I don't even know
Oh,
where that
yeah.
is anymore,
Dude,
because I
oh
wish I still had that.
I wish I had the link to that too.
Do we still have our? Me and Maddie did a Civil War, Captain America Civil
I
War
have
trailer.
that dub
You still have
sitting
that?
somewhere.
We gotta watch that.
I have that somewhere.
Like, we did the trailer and like we spoke over it.
Oh, seriously.
Kind of what you're getting at, Patrick, with animation too, is the thing that even if you're not necessarily engaging with the medium as much, or you don't like think about it, or as passionate as like
I don't think about it
I
at
might
all.
be, for example, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, at the very least, you have an appreciation for it.
Yeah. And
Whether you know it or not, because you've been through it. Like, there's a Video Game Donkey, the YouTuber who talks about video games, has this great video where he talks about Cuphead, the video game,
How
and
beautiful,
old
dude.
Donkey stuff. And he basically goes on this like 5-minute preamble about the site Newgrounds, how he used to upload all these animations as a kid, and he shows a few of them from when he was like 12, and they're just god awful. And he like says that, where he's like, I spent all this time on animation and they're still this bad. So when you see a game, you want to talk about animations, when you see a game that looks as gorgeous as Cuphead, that's how you know, oh, those people are extremely talented at what they're doing, kind of thing. Yeah. And again, you want to talk video game animation, shout out Cuphead.
Oh, Cuphead is incredible. And the music too is fantastic. But you raise a really good point, because to me, I've never even attempted to animate something like, I mean, like Patrick, I took the Comtech course and we did that little animation thing. But I haven't attempted to animate something or do any visual effects for a very long time. So a part of me, I feel like, doesn't even acknowledge it when I see it. Like, I understand that in the back of my head, but like, because I haven't attempted it and don't work in that field, like, I will never know how difficult it is. I can imagine that it's insanely difficult, but like,
right,
even without having even without that information and that kind of experience to compare, just looking at it, it just blows me away every time.
Yeah. Animation is one of like 3 or 4 skills that I know I will never like possess in a true like masterful way that I wish I did. Like, to me, it's playing an instrument, drawing, being able to that kind of goes hand in hand with animation, but like being able to draw and illustrate and or doing animation, and then I don't know, like being a dope ass chef would be cool too. But it's one of those things that I just wish, like, I look at people who can animate and I just wish I had that in me.
You know what's crazy? I'm thinking about it now, and it's like, I don't know if this is the case, but I feel like when people talk about stuff that they long for, like, for example, I expressed in the last episode that I envy people who can sing. Matthew's discussing animation. It's like people really cling to the arts, and it's so undervalued in our education system, and at least that's my perception of it. Like, why is it not the case that there's more emphasis on being artistic in multiple ways when we're younger?
I think it's honestly
like, we only start the music program in school in grade 7. And that was in Milton too. I didn't have music in Mississauga.
You got the recorder in grade 4.
I never had that in Mississauga. I don't know. You
I
guys had
get what
that
you're
in Milton.
saying though, but it's also limited to what frustrates me is that like art in elementary school and high school, at least, you know, here in Canada, is either a music course of some kind, whether it's in like elementary school when you're doing more band kind of stuff, or in high school when we did guitar. So it's either music or it's like visual arts. It's painting and sculpting and that kind of stuff. But there's no like you know how much I would have killed for a basic high school, like, here's an animation course.
Yeah, and it's not like we didn't have the resources. In my old elementary school in Mississauga, we had a room full of Macs.
Yeah, I was about to say 2 things. One is like the monetary aspect of things. Maybe it's really difficult to have that sort of, you know, framework for people to start working with. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's true. I think nowadays, like, that could be done. I think, to me, it's like sticking to the old ways of how, you know, we've always taught, like traditional stuff. I think it's just kind of like the system is already set up in many ways, and of course they're always updating things, but to like, I feel like that might be a really jarring thing for, you know, curriculum creators and all that stuff to just make all new courses and stuff like that. Maybe they're doing it somewhere, who knows? But I just feel like it's a really daunting task, and it's just easier to stick to the basics, I guess. And that's why I would assume they don't do that, but they definitely should do that, especially nowadays when technology is advancing so rapidly and things are looking so incredible. It's like why shouldn't we teach people how to like get into that?
Yeah, and it doesn't even need to be a requisite. It like if they could do it where it was an option.
Yeah,
where
you have
if
to pay
people
extra or
wanted
whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, even if it's not paying extra or paying extra, whatever it is, if it's just there as an option, just like how in high school and
Like an elective
in
or
grade
something.
10 we had the guitar elective, which you took that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I never took
crazy.
any music in high school actually.
Oh, okay.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Now, specifically with animation, just to steer it slightly back to that, I'd like to give a quick shout out. Now, this is a shout out that goes beyond animation, but specifically animation. I'd like to take a moment to just shout out Japan. Because if there's a country on this earth that cracked the code with animation, it's Japan. Now, allow me to put my weeb hat on for a second.
Can we talk about Studio Ghibli?
We're going to get there. Now, we're all, I think the four of us, we're all like into anime to varying degrees, or at least can appreciate it. You know, I think Malcolm, judging by that.
Have you watched any anime
I don't
before?
think I've watched any anime.
Judging by that
True.
scared look Malcolm just gave us, he's probably the lowest on the totem pole. And Patrick, I think you and I would maybe be a little higher on that totem pole with like the amount of shows and stuff we've.
You know what I'll say?
I don't know if I'm higher than Mark or not. Am I higher than
Well,
Mark?
here's what I'm gonna say. You're
Yeah.
definitely higher on me when it comes to anime shows.
Yeah.
I don't really watch any anime shows, but I am into Ghibli movies, and I've watched a bunch of Studio Ghibli movies in my own time, and I love them.
This
and
is
like,
also true.
and especially like 90s anime. Like I really want to get back into. I didn't finish it, but I really want to get back into Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop.
Like that show is like what is the 90s, right?
Yep.
And to me, like the art style is so much cooler than 99% of new.
There's
animation.
something about 90s animation, like or 90s anime, I should say, that's got that like
I don't know how to explain
similar
it.
to Star Wars, like
Yeah.
the original trilogy. Like it's almost got this dirt or like this grime. Like I don't know if that's the right way of
Dude, I
saying
know-
it, but
you
it's
know what
got
I
this
think
like it's a slightly less polished.
Yeah.
It's almost the way I look at kind of rap and hip hop stuff, where I have more of an appreciation for some of the classic 90s stuff because it's got that more handmade, like a bunch of
Looseness
dudes
to
in
it,
their garage making it, as opposed to now where it is the popular music that's like
Very technical.
very highly well produced.
Yeah.
And I feel some of the 90s anime is similar to that, where now, you know, the biggest blockbuster anime like a Attack on Titan or a My Hero Academia, those are very well polished, well produced shows, whereas something like Cowboy Bebop has just that slight little almost like, you know, guerrilla warfare, kind of like we're doing this by the seat of our pants feel to it.
You
And
know,
you can just see it.
the way I describe it is like cookie cutter and very like technically well done versus like artistic and like free hand and like kind
Right.
of not to say that there's no structure to that Ghibli stuff because it's insanely hard to do.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. Just also like the way I think about it is like thinking of Cowboy Bebop and like seeing like one of the characters smoke a cigarette or something. It's just like it's so sexy to me. It's just fucking dope as shit,
It's
dude.
so good.
I
Yeah,
love it.
Cowboy Bebop's the shit. But yeah, like anime just as a whole other umbrella of animation is just such a
I didn't even think of that, to be honest with you.
what?
Just like animation and then jumping to anime.
I know anime is literally animation, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is like there is some kind of
a subsection
delineation
of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like there's some sort of delineation between the two, and I'm an anime dork, even though I haven't watched as much lately as I might like to. But that's the thing. In terms of like Ghibli movies specifically are the kinds of movies that remind me of what Mark was saying about Spider-Verse, where I look at scenes and moments and things from those movies that I want to just hang on my wall. Like some of those movies, my personal favorite, Princess Mononoke, and some of the others like Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro, and you know, on and on and on. They're just perfect. Like they're just so well, and like perfect animation wise. You know, you can say whatever you want about the movie, but put it this way: I defy you, in any objective way, to look at some of Ghibli's best stuff and say what you will about the movie, story wise, plot, whatever, any of that crap. I defy you to look at some of their stuff from an animation perspective and be like, well, clearly that's subpar.
Yeah.
Clearly that's not good enough. Like I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I
I'm
won't
gonna
accept
make a
it.
Smurf account, go into the comments.
Here we go. Patrick's
honestly,
gonna be fucking.
I'm with you. Like even with some Ghibli movies, like I really love Howl's Moving Castle. It's a beautiful movie. When I watched it for the first time, I was kind of like, this is a little bit too abstract for me, and it's a little bit too all over the place and kind of just like nothing really solidified, and there's no like strong, clear. It was just kind of very abstract. And after I watched it, I was like, I don't really love that type of movie, and I still don't prefer that type of movie. But like Maddie said, like the music as well, but also the visuals. It's like I can't deny that any of that stuff is just it's nothing less than unbelievable. And yeah,
my brain is sort of warming up to this topic as in like really thinking about it a little bit, but just when Maddie brought up anime, I'm thinking about all the anime shows that I've watched, like Full Metal Alchemist, Demon Slayer, One Punch Man. The list goes on and on and on.
That's what I'm saying.
And this is a truism, I guess. There's an infinite way of representing stuff, and it's crazy how many styles there are and how many just ways of representing different characters. Like you see those episodes or those little segments people do where they draw like famous characters in different styles.
Yes.
And those are really cool to me because it's like, yeah, there's like part of the world of each of these shows is linked to the style and how they're drawn, you know what I mean? And I just think that's so cool.
It's a part of what the overall feel of it. Yeah. It's like I even saw like Breaking Bad if it was a 90s anime. Yeah. It looks so sick.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Well, so there's 3 quick things I'll mention here just to sort of segue us out of this because I don't want to take up too much of people's time. We've been running. This is a long one.
I'm not going to be able to study tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to. But this has been a long one.
I'm so
today.
angry.
Well, you know,
my test is on Friday.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
We should watch a movie after this.
I hate you.
The first thing I was going to say is just about anime specifically. Of the last 3 things I want to get off my chest here, what I respect about like Japan and anime culture over there is that animation is taken seriously there, and that's one thing that I long for here in the West. Is I wish animation was taken more seriously, because the problem is here in the West animation is for kids, and the few times it's not, a show like Invincible for example,
dope,
is where to me I see like the cracks starting to form in like the very Western, like cartoons are just for kids, whereas like in Japan, there are anime centered at kids. Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, these things, like these are not
dark
kids shows. Like these are, obviously there's the violence and like that sort of angle on it. Jujutsu Kaisen's another
even
one,
like
but
Tokyo,
it's even
Tokyo
just
Ghoul.
It's just like some of the subject matter and like what they're dealing with, and it's like, but it's taken seriously over there. Like there are grown ass people over there who are like, oh, did you check out like this week's My Hero kind of thing, like talking around the water cooler, the way people are talking about Last of Us now kind of thing. Whereas it's not the same.
You're right. You don't
here.
You're opening my mind a little bit, because I don't ever hear any adults here or any of our parents being like, I mean, maybe, I don't want to assume, but I don't really see many adults, like coworkers, just anyone who's like a parent, be like, oh, this new animated movie was really cool. It's always like, oh, I just went with my kids and I didn't want to watch it.
And you get the rare like, oh, like Invincible's airing right now, like isn't this cool kind of thing. But again, like even the movies we talk about, Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots was a big thing, this TMNT thing that looks cool, but it's all
that has like 4-point-something million views.
Exactly, but it's all like kid-centric stuff. Like again, a movie, this is such a deep cut, but the Tim Burton movie 9, I am obsessed with that movie, and it is technically, that's one of those things where like, I guess by definition it's a kids movie.
It's kind of
but
fucked
it's
up,
really
though.
not, because it's like dark and fucked up, and
really,
it's got these horror elements, and that's what I'm saying, where it's like,
It's a great movie.
That is one thing I have such an immense, as somebody who loves the medium, has such an immense amount of respect for anime in Japan, where it's not treated as a thing for kids that sometimes we do stuff for adults. It's treated as there's kids versions of this, but there's also adults, there's more in between, there's like all ages, there's just
I think that's changing
everything.
though, like you're kind of saying with Invincible, like little cracks opening. I think that's changing, because a lot of people our age are really into the Spider-Verse stuff, are really into Invincible and other like kind of more raunchy animated stuff. So I think once our generation grows older, and like I think it'll start to be passed on and enjoyed more broadly in the mature stuff.
Yes, that is my one hope, is that things like Invincible can sort of start to like put those thoughts in people's heads of like, oh, you can do animation A, for adults, but B, in like a compelling, like I would argue Invincible is as like a drama, or if you want to maybe compare it to more like superhero stuff, like some of its contemporaries, I would argue Invincible is as compelling as The Boys, or like the Marvel Disney Plus stuff, like WandaVision, Loki, like some of the better Disney Plus shows. Like I would argue that Invincible can compete with those things, like on a narrative,
100%
structure.
Like we could talk about
and
Spider-Verse.
The animation doesn't like
get in the way of that.
Get in the way of that.
And we could talk about the same thing with Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse to me is a really good story, and like I'm talking about the writing and the plot, and you can like compare it to any other live action superhero movie, and it's like it could beat a lot of them.
Exactly. Like
if I may make a comment here,
please.
I think the first episode of Invincible has arguably one of the biggest twists
Oh,
at
yes.
the end of any sort of show,
So
movie. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we were like, what?
I was so baffled.
Everybody I've shown Invincible to, whether it's you guys or even my girlfriend recently, like we watched the whole thing from start to finish. I always tell everybody the same thing where I'm like, watch the first episode. Give me 40 minutes of your time. Because if at the end of that first episode you aren't convinced,
you're not good.
You will never be convinced the show's not for you. But just give me that 40 minutes to get you, because I guarantee you'll be in.
You know what I love about that first episode too? Is that it's so fucking... It's on purpose. Like it's such
It's
a
so
kind of,
on purpose, right?
Basic as
They,
shit.
they set up the whole first episode as a kind of like...
Without spoiling it.
Yeah, without spoiling it. It's very kind of like... Maybe not kid friendly, but it's kind of like teenage friendly. It's kind of like
run
very...
of the mill.
Yeah.
It's basic. And like the violence is like toned down. Like it's very
like the punches just kind of have like, oh, little bruise on your face, whatever,
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
crazy.
Like
and then at
it's-
the end, it's like,
And
what?
then at the end, you're like, what's going on
Yeah,
here?
and then they flip the script on you. So that was, of the 3 things I wanted to get off my chest, that is the one thing. We'll conclude the shout out to Japan segment of the show.
Okay.
Thank you, Japan.
Number 2, I need to toss out specifically one thing I want to nerd out about, which none of you have seen, so just humor me for a moment. There's a little show by the name of Samurai Jack. It's 5 seasons, and it's perfect. The first 4 seasons were aimed at a younger audience, but can be appreciated by, adults and some grown-ass people like me. The 5th season, when they brought it back, like 10 years after it had ended, they did the 5th final season where they went out of their way to make it more adult, and there was like blood and violence and all that stuff, which appeals to a sociopath like myself. I just want to shout out Samurai Jack as just such a perfect piece of animation that I want, if I could impart one thing to people, it's go watch Samurai Jack, because it's something geared towards kids, but it clearly wants to also be, I know, like I just said, the last season it got violent and it was geared towards a more mature audience, but even in those first 4 seasons, it so clearly wanted to be directed at adults, the way it like did the opposite of what a lot of kids shows did in the early 2000s, whereas you get something like SpongeBob, and this wasn't the only cartoon, but like something's always happening, somebody's always talking, there's music
Like,
always
look over here,
happening.
look over here.
Like look over here, look over here. It's this constant like distraction. Whereas what I love about Samurai Jack is there are like episodes where they will go like 2 minutes at a time with no dialogue, no music, just like ambience of the world. And it's like they trust their audience enough, whether it is, older idiots like me or kids at the time, like the trust that they put in their audience to expect them to sit through that and not like flip to something else, and that people did, to me is such a like ringing endorsement of how successful that thing is.
Can I comment on one thing you said there?
Please.
I love the practice from like the creators of shows and movies of trusting the audience. I love that so much, because you'll have movies like you're fucking... I don't want to be a big hater here, but I'm gonna be for a second. Like The Rock, Kevin Hart, all those types of like blockbuster, huge types of movies that just all feel the same and you don't really remember anything about any of them. And it's like, it is trying to appeal to the most wide audience of like families. Kids will love it. Adults will love it because there's some darker jokes and stuff, whatever. But to me, it's like creating something that is authentically what it is without being like, we have to make it exactly for this audience and they're going to love it. Like, make the fucking piece of art like Samurai Jack. And yeah, they have a target audience generally, but they're not going to bend their own like art just to fit another box. Like, I love the idea of just like creating it. And because it's so good, there's going to be an audience for it.
Exactly. And the guy who created Samurai Jack, Gennady Tartakovsky, I think is how you say his name. His show that's going on right now called Primal is like the premise of Primal is that it's a caveman and a dinosaur, and that's basically what the show's about. And because it's a caveman and a dinosaur, I could be dreaming, but at least in the first, because I watched most of the first season, there's no dialogue at all. Like, it's all just the sort of visual stuff between this guy and the dinosaur, and it's like it's basically what they did with Samurai Jack, almost clocked up to 11 of, hey, no dialogue at all. This is just going to be a visual thing. Figure this out. Similar to how Pixar did with like WALL-E. How the first 30 minutes of that movie is just sound design. And obviously with WALL-E, they take like an R2-D2 approach where they give him, you know,
Cutesiness.
boops and bobs and like little sounds he makes that tell you how he's feeling in a very R2-D2 way. But there's a perfect example to me of like trusting your audience of, for 30 minutes of this major motion Pixar movie, sit and watch it. Music, sound design,
huge risk from the studio,
talking,
but
exactly, and it paid off. Like WALL-E's this beloved, you know, movie. I know a lot of their stuff is, so it's like kind of comparing, you know, greatness with greatness when it comes to Pixar. But it's like that's an example of them, similarly to the Samurai Jack approach, having that faith and just doing it the way it is and not, you know, compromising on it. But I will get off the Samurai Jack wagon for a second here to close us out because we're running long. To what I was saying earlier, that I think, Patrick, you hopefully have, as you were talking about earlier, maybe come around on a little bit, is this idea of animation being this, like illustration, you know, drawing art in video games, this sort of limitless thing, this bottomless pit of potential. That is the one thing that I just want to sort of close on with animation, and again reinforce why I love it and why I'm so obsessed with it, and hopefully why you maybe think a little bit deeper about it.
I mean, I must say, a thought I had, and this isn't a shot at how long we've been going here, but a thought I had like around 10 minutes ago was, I think I have based on this conversation, I'm thinking about it a little more deeply, and I'm having a bit more of an appreciation for all the stuff that I consume that is animated. I don't want to take us into a different thing here.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so I won't say it.
No. Well, if you have a final point, I thought you were going to start a whole other thing.
It's kind of amazing to me how animation can be so good that you connect with it emotionally, in the sense of like it can evoke such feelings in you. Like I was thinking about how playing the Spider-Man game, I cried. It's really old. I can say how. Okay, it's 2016, bro.
2018. It's 2018.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's 5 years
I
old.
would say just there's a sad thing that happens at the end of Spider-Man PS4.
And I can't remember crying so hard while playing a video game before. It's
sure, and that's the thing with animation, to what you're saying, where it's like when you look at it, you know it's not real. Like there's never a moment where you're like, this is a real thing with real people. Your brain instantly knows it's fake, and yet there's that.
It feels so real still.
Exactly.
I feel like it's like it almost has to be better than the live action shit to really get to you. It has to be like top quality.
Yeah, like they almost have to try that much harder.
And that's what makes it good.
When you're watching Spider-Verse, you know very clearly these aren't real people because you're looking at cartoons, and yet it hits those emotional beats so well that you're like,
dude, it's like
it doesn't matter.
It's like The Last of Us. The first 15 minutes of the game, I'll spoil it because it's like a 10-year-old game now. But like, Joel's daughter dies right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And like you barely get to you meet her a little bit and you get to know a tiny bit about her, but you don't learn very much about her at all. And yet when she gets shot and he's holding her in his arms and she's dying and he's crying and he's begging whatever's out there to like not do this, I cry every time. And it's like, and it's an animated game. It's just unbelievable what kind of power they can produce with those sort of
the power of animation, baby. If I could impart one last thing to everybody, it's to anybody who hears this, like I said, maybe take animation just a little bit more seriously. That's all I ask.
Fair enough. And thank you for listening.
And thank you for listening, everybody. This has been a very long episode of Wildly Adequate.
I just need to give an assurance to the audience. Malcolm is alive.
He's still here.
He's still here. We can end now.
Malcolm, name one cartoon you like. Go.
SpongeBob.
Great.
Hell yes. That's been your show, bitches. See you next time.